Welcome to Husky Stadium on the campus of Northern Illinois University for a full day of IHSA State Championship football from Class 1A to 4A. Hello and good morning. I'm Cameron Smith, and I hope everyone enjoyed their Thanksgiving with family and friends. And the world stops here for 8 teams that have earned their way to crown themselves as state champions. And joining me alongside to provide more commentary, more insight for today's broadcast.
Humor, jokes,
yes,
whatever.
definitely. Two Salukis, Edgy Tim of NBC Sports Chicago. And Edgy, it's an exciting time for these players, these coaches, these fans. But what intrigues you about the 4 matchups that we'll see throughout this day?
First of all, this is like midsummer weather in DeKalb. It is outstanding here. So by all means, weather should not be a factor. To me, in this 1A game, 2 distinct styles of football. Definitely interesting matchups on both sides of the ball. That's what really sticks out about this ball game to me.
All right, let's throw it to the 2 gentlemen that will provide the voices for our 1A matchup between Lena-Winslow and Tuscola. That is Lee Hall and Jack McInerney.
All right, Cameron, Edgy Tim, thank you very much, and welcome to Husky Stadium. Again, I'm Lee Hall, along with the Hall of Famer Jack McInerney, and the pollsters got it right this time. Number 1 against number 2, Tuscola against Lena-Winslow, 2 undefeated teams. They've met, the programs have, in this championship game before, and they are back again this year.
Well, it's kind of interesting, Lee. They all have the same formula for getting here. They're both 13-0. They both have tremendous offenses and outstanding defenses. The only difference is how they got there offensively. One team spreads it out, runs a lot of different plays. The other team is extremely run heavy and pounds it at you. The results are always the same. A lot of points on the scoreboard, and thus far, 26-0 for both teams. What they're all looking for at the end of this weekend is this ring right here. Everybody wants to get that championship ring. It's going to be a great weekend of football here in DeKalb.
Of course, Tuscola has a couple of those. They come at it from the spread. Their quarterback is Luke Sluter, almost 3,000 yards combined for the Warriors.
Well, when you have a quarterback like that, it's just amazing at what you can do. He can look like he's going to be sacked, and he turns into a big play because he keeps plays alive with his feet. He's also become a very smart player after that second ball game when they kind of readjusted their offense a little bit to suit him.
Lena-Winslow out of that Northwest Illinois Upstate Conference, the Northwest Division. Lena-Winslow led by Valentine, their running back.
He is something else. 4-year starter, big stats. Last year he had about 1,500 yards. This year over 2,000 yards. Plays linebacker. He's a throwback high school football player. He's outstanding.
As we mentioned, contrasting styles going at it here at Husky Stadium for the 1A State Championship. That's coming up next on NBC Sports Chicago.
IHSA Football State Finals are brought to you by Country Financial. Take simple steps today at countryfinancial.com/simplesteps. And by Biaggi's, where carry-out and curbside pickup make it easy to enjoy the great taste of Biaggi's at home. Visit Biaggi's online at biaggi's.com.
And we are back on the campus of Northern Illinois University for a great 1A State Football Championship game between Lena-Winslow and Tuscola. Again, Cameron Smith joining you alongside with Edgy Tim of NBC Sports. And Edgy, this matchup between Lena and Tuscola, very intriguing on a number of different levels. But for Lena-Winslow, what is their identity and what do they have to do to get this win today?
Very simple, Cameron. Ground and pound. That is what Lena-Winslow does. And if you're a fan of Lena-Winslow, you want this to be Valentine's Day, as in Rakeon Valentine. Outstanding running back, all-state running back. If you're Lena, you want to run the ball early and often. The only time you want to throw is when you want to throw, not when you have to throw if you're Lena-Winslow.
And switching sides of the field for the Tuscola Warriors, Luke Sluter, they will lean on his abilities as a running back behind that great offensive line led by Hunter Woodard, who will play football for Oklahoma State.
Again, Sluter has done so much, leading the team in rushing, great passing stats, and that's the key to Tuscola. They are very balanced offensively, so you want to be able to do what you do offensively. But to me, at the top of the list, you have to find a way of slowing down or stopping the running game from Lena-Winslow. That's priority number 1 if you're Tuscola.
All right, we are going to break, and when we come back, we will have the 1A State Football Championship between the Panthers of Lena-Winslow and the Warriors of Tuscola.
And we are ready for kickoff. Lee Hall, Jack McInerney, and crew here with you at Husky Stadium in DeKalb, Illinois. A couple of years ago when we were here, there was snow on the ground. It was Arctic-like weather. Today, it feels about like early October. It's a beautiful day here for football.
And it's supposed to get better. It's supposed to be up in the 60s.
Lena-Winslow won the toss. They defer and will kick it away. Hayden Cothran is deep for the Warriors. It's fielded by Dalton Hull, their wide receiver. He carries it out to the 20 where he's brought down, out to the 21-yard line where Tuscola will start. They average 45 points a game, 13-0 this season. They are a dual threat, 211 yards on the ground, 158 yards through the air per game. And there is a good look at Luke Sluter, the junior quarterback who has had an outstanding season for the Warriors.
Boy, is it nice to have a kid like that coming back after being in the state championship game with those stats.
They put Hull in motion. The give is to Erickson on first down. He picks up 4 yards. Andrew Erickson is their leading rusher. He stands 5'9", 209 as senior. There you get a look at the starters for Tuscola. Sluter, their quarterback. Pierce and Erickson out of the backfield. Hull and Cothran at wide receiver. Cementi is their tight end, and some big guys up front. The future Oklahoma State Cowboy Hunter Woodard, Dakota Denny, Cade Morgan, C.J. Picasso, Braden Von Lenken, the big guys up front for the Warriors. 2nd down and 6. Sluter rolls right, looks deep, has a man wide open, and it's complete to Noah Pierce, and that's a first down out at the 36-yard line. Defensive starters on the other side for Lena-Winslow. The Panthers 13-0, allowing just 11 points per game. Parker McGee, Ian Cool, Michael Jones, Isaiah Bruce up front. Linebackers Schwartz, Caracas, and Ormiston. Cornerback Trumpy and Valentine and Lingle and Chrisman are the safeties. Good start for Tuscola.
Good start, and knew exactly what he needed for a first down on that throw and catch.
Hayden Cothran is the man in motion. It's Sluter on the keep. Not a lot there. Well done by the front four for Lena-Winslow. Sluter needing just 35 yards to go over 3,000 combined yards this year. Over 2,000 yards passing, 914 yards rushing on the season coming into this championship game. On 2nd down, Sluter to throw again. It's complete to Hull. And he is very close to first down, just a little bit short. It's going to be 3rd down and about 1.
They've had great balance all year long between the run and the pass, and it's been very effective. Keeps the defense off balance.
Quickly to the line of scrimmage. And they halt and look over. No huddle here.
He's under center this time.
Ooh. The handoff, and it's going to be very close. It'll depend on the spot. Not much there for Noah Pierce.
Good push by that front four for Lena.
He's short. It's 4th down.
4th down. And that's their strength defensively for Lena's that front four, and they did a great job right there.
Cade Crescent is back to punt.
First defensive stop is always big for that first possession, and certainly in the state championship game.
It's muffed, and Hull is right on it at the 20. Lena-Winslow with a big break there. Tuscola with the big break, I should say. It looked like Ty Chrisman was on it, muffed it, and Dalton Hull was right there, so a huge break for the Warriors on that punt.
And the wind had a lot to do with that, but fundamentally that just was not a good reception. He didn't get his feet underneath him. You can see he's stretching out and reaching for the football. You've got to have your feet underneath you on a punt return. kind of poor execution right there fundamentally, and that's a big turnover right there. Great field position.
It was Ty Chrisman, the Lena-Winslow quarterback, who was back to receive, couldn't handle it. That punt was into the wind, and it's a big break for Tuscola as they get back at it from the 20-yard line. Sluter keeps it himself, and not much doing there. 914 yards on the ground for Luke Sluter. A little over 5 yards per carry.
Well, anytime you have a quarterback that is active, can run the football as well as throw it, it puts a lot of pressure on that defense. Not only on those linebackers, because they can't drop in the pass coverage because they got to stay home and think of him as another running back, which he certainly is.
Second down now. Gives to Erickson. He's got room to run, picking his way down to the 7-yard line. That's good for a first down. It'll be 1st and goal for the Warriors. Erickson 734 yards on the season.
He averages about 56 yards a game, which is a nice contribution from the running back, because the other running back averages about the same. The big contributor offensively is the quarterback, so you got to have two running backs and take the pressure off of him, and that's exactly what Erickson and Pierce do.
Tuscola calls this Erickson time anytime they're in the red zone. 1st and goal. Sluter's going to keep it this time and get behind those big linemen. The ball came out. Lena-Winslow comes out of there with it. The official now indicates it is Lena-Winslow ball.
What a turn of events here early. And you can't say it's butterflies because they've had a couple of plays each, and normally you get the butterflies out within the first couple of plays in any kind of a game, and certainly within the state championship game. And so now we're just looking at a big turnover. You can see they're blocking down and trying to trap. And they're just, when you get them to stand up, you can see all the tugging and pulling on the football, and that's exactly what happened. Big turnover right there.
Looked like Isaiah Bruce came up with it. This is Valentine spinning out to the 10-yard line. Ravion Valentine, 2,025 yards coming into the game, 10 yards a carry. He's a 5'9" senior, and not a huge guy, but he plays big back there.
Well, you know, when you have a high school running back that can average over 4,500 yards in his career, that's absolutely amazing. He's been on the varsity and has started for 4 years.
Good push that time by the Tuscola line. Hunter Woodard, the Division I recruit, headed to Oklahoma State with the tackle.
When you have a matchup like this with these two teams, so much comes down to line play at the line of scrimmage. Offense and defensive line play. You can see right there how he comes in from behind. He's a big guy at 6'5", 285. The reason he's going to Oklahoma State is because you saw the quickness that he showed right there. For a big man, he really moves very well.
That defensive play makes it 3rd down and 7 for Lena-Winslow. And Schwartz nowhere to go. That one sniffed out well by the Tuscola defense. There is a flag.
Both teams right now showing the defensive prowess that has served them well all year long. The stats that they have are for their offense. It's all people always notice the offense. Both teams average over 45 yards of points per game, but what people don't think about is the defense.
We have no flag. 4th down.
An inadvertent flag. They pick it up, and it's 4th down for Lena-Winslow. So a muff punt gave Tuscola the ball back at the Lena-Winslow 20. A Tuscola fumble inside the 5 gave it to Lena-Winslow, and they couldn't do anything with it either. Hole is back.
And right now,
standing at the 45-yard line.
Excuse me, Lee. Right now, they're going to get great field position.
Pretty good punt with the wind at his back. Hole makes the grab at the 48, shakes a tackle, gets outside and brought down at the 31. That's a punt return of about 17 for Dalton Hole. Turnovers, the story of the game so far, but Tuscola back in good field position when we come back. happy Black Friday. Hopefully you got your shopping done already. You can sit back and relax and join us for a little football. Lena-Winslow and Tuscola each with the turnover. No score. 6:30 to go here in the first quarter on a sunny, beautiful November day after Thanksgiving here in DeKalb.
It's hard to believe that actually Tuscola had better field position than this on their first possession.
Sluter on the keeper. He's met very close to the line of scrimmage and wrestled down there. Ian Keel in on the tackle. Check that, Isaiah Bruce.
Both these teams have had such great seasons. And of course, the programs are so steady over all the years. That's how you keep coming back to games like this.
Second down, Sluter to throw. Had a man. Pierce was the intended receiver. A little too tall for him. It'll be third down. So Tuscola unable to get much going. That's just the first incompletion. 2 of 3 now for Sluter. Here's a look at Tuscola out of Douglas County, enrollment of 313, the Central Illinois Conference. 29 straight regular season wins for the Warriors.
And they've been here before, champs in 206 and 209, and they've had 3 seconds, 07, 210, and 211.
Sluter rolling right. Double coverage, tipped up and intercepted. Sean Ormiston with the pick. There is a flag. That's the old tip drill, Coach.
It really is, and actually they worked on that in pregame. So some of those old drills still come to fruition during the ball game. Lots of turnovers here early.
Let's see if it stands.
A lot of tension here because it's great field position.
We have pass interference. Number 43 on the defense. And close from the previous spot. First down.
Well, the crowd is certainly into it today. Good shot of the game officials right there. Outstanding crew.
Now that negates the turnover.
Well, kind of close call right there, but when it's close, it can go either way, and that's exactly what happened there. Big break right there. Can they take advantage of it?
1st and 10 from the 15. Sluter the handoff. That is Cothran with his first carry. Hayden Cothran is 5'11", 153 junior.
First down is so very crucial in big games, whether it be for the conference championship, whether it be for the state championship. And exactly right now, when you get 4 yards or 5 yards on first down, that certainly widens the game plan and opens up the playbook as far as what you can call. Now, things down here in the red zone make it a little tighter because think of the end zone or that back line as your 12th defender. So it squeezes a few things, but still gives you great opportunities.
2nd and 5. Sluter keeps it himself, takes it down to the 5-yard line. Pretty good block up front. Left tackle C.J. Picasso. A little push out there to make some room for Sluter.
Now they actually have 2 downs to pick up 2 yards, and then they'll have 1st and goal. So I mean, it's a great opportunity right here. Just be relatively conservative. You don't want to have any turnovers whatsoever because there's been too many already.
We talked about it being Erickson time. 16 of his 21 touchdowns on the season, 10 yards or less.
Well, they're in the old wing T right now, Lee. Excuse me.
See if they call his number here. They do. He hits the pile and gets across the goal line. It's a touchdown. And it is Erickson time for Tuscola. They score the first touchdown in this 1A state championship.
Now you give him the touchdown in the books, but you've got to give an awful lot of credit to that offensive line, starting with the center. Everything was to the right side. Morgan, Denny, Van Lanken to the right side. Great push right there. You can see the blocking down by Dakota Denny, number 61, and that's how you get in the end zone. Look at the wedge blocking and just a good leg drive right there and some good blocks by the lead backs. But that's red zone football, and that's how you average over 45 points a game when you can score down there.
Cade Creason for the point after. 66 of 75 on the year. And that one is good. So a couple of turnovers with no blood, and good field position for Tuscola, and it's Erickson time as the Warriors jump out to the early lead. We are back at Husky Stadium. Lee Hall, Jack McInerney up in the booth. Tuscola with the early lead. Lena-Winslow in uncharted territory kind of for them behind here in the first quarter.
You know, in a game like this, when you average about 45 points a game, you have a lot of confidence in your own team. Now, it's been real sloppy up to this point, no doubt about it. Sloppy for both teams. They're not used to that kind of offensive play and defensive play as far as turnovers. So I think they'll probably settle down right now. But you can take a look right there at their opponents and what they've done to their opponents in the first half. Usually they lead. When you break that down, it's about 30-4 at halftime, and that's for both teams. Ironically, both teams have about the same average after the first half of leading the other opponent by about 30-4 to 6 points. So, you know, they do a great job. The first half is big for both teams.
Both teams have a turnover. The Tuscola turnover on the pass was overturned on that pass interference play, and that resulted in a 5-play, 31-yard drive for Tuscola.
Well, they've had great field position the entire time, and Lena really hasn't had any field position to take advantage of any opportunities yet. But we have an awful long way to go in this ball game.
Got a good look at Rick Aaron in his 21st year as head coach, 178-61. One of the great programs from the NUIC, the Northwest Division. Great history of state championship football up in that corner of the state.
You know, Lee, math is one of my toughest academic areas, but I break down his record to 8.5 wins a year as opposed to 3 losses. That's a great career for that's just 21 years.
Schwartz on the return for Lena-Winslow as they'll start at about their own 26-yard line. Take a look at the Panthers out of Stevenson County, tucked up there in the northwest corner of the state, about an hour and a half from DeKalb. Third state final berth in the last 8 seasons. The Northwest Upstate Illini Conference Northwest Division. The pitch is to Valentine. He shakes one tackler and is driven out of bounds at the 33-yard line. We'll look at the offensive starters. Ty Chrisman is their quarterback. Doesn't throw it very much. Sean Ormiston back there with Valentine. Gage Schwartz also listed at running back. McGee and Bruce are their tight ends. Brogy, Arend, Caracas, Jones, and Keel up front for the Panthers. Second down. And the Tuscola defense there, not much gain that time for the Panthers. They averaged 343 rushing yards per game.
And they really don't throw the ball much because they only average about 50 yards throwing the football. They usually go for about 3 attempts, complete 2 for about 50 yards. And but they average 46 points a game, so that kind of gives you an idea how that running game is very effective. And most of their stats, they really haven't had a real tough season. A lot of these kids only play the first half, so those are some incredible stats for only a half of football.
Chrisman to throw. He's got a man wide open out at midfield. And that is Bruce. And we've seen a little bit more throwing from Lena-Winslow in the playoffs. That is their first down of this ball game. Take another look.
And it's effective when you have a real strong running game, because even though that wasn't great play action, it was still a little run action which holds up the corner. You can take a look right here. Just holds him. He doesn't get over there in time. He was holding off on the run fake, and that's exactly what you need to do when you have a strong run game.
Rick Aaron talked about that earlier this week and joked about, we don't throw it very much. Boy, it's pretty exciting stuff. But then he said, we throw when we want to throw.
Right.
They're no good at catch up. We throw when we want to throw. And Chrisman's numbers, really, he's a 69% passer on the year, 620 yards. He's thrown 12 touchdown passes,
and has not thrown an interception this season.
That's an outstanding statistic for a quarterback that doesn't throw that much. You'd think he'd almost be rusty sometimes when he's throwing the ball, but that's the effectiveness of a strong run game.
Short 2-yard gain brings up second down. Another muff snap. That's the second one of this drive, and it looked to me like Tuscola's on it.
Actually, it was going to be a trap, and I think when he stepped back, the guard must have banged into him.
And Tuscola has it. Second turnover of the game for Lena-Winslow.
That was just a poorly executed play, and it was a combination of him coming off and stretching back, and I think the guard, watch the guard pull right there. You can see what happened. The guard, I think, banged into him. He had the ball extended, and the guard banged into him as he was pulling the trap.
We saw a couple of plays before that. There was a tough exchange there. Cale Cementi right there to pick it up for the Warriors. So they've got it right at midfield, up 7-0. Sluter in the shotgun. Rolling left, shakes off one tackler, won't shake off the second one. That is Sean Ormiston. He's second on the team in tackles, there to bring down Sluter.
And I think the first guy that threw off that little sprint out was Keel. You can see right here, just a poor exchange and then the guard and tackle, and he just can never get control of the football. And there's the turnover right there, and at midfield, you just can't afford to do that in the championship ball game. Great camel work right there, catching that guard and tackle, pulling. But again, good job right there by the defensive front of Lena, forcing him to break off that route and try and scramble.
Yeah, that loss of 6.
Nope.
That pass incomplete. Dalton Hull went down for it, but no good. That'll bring up 3rd and long for Tuscola. 3rd and 16, going into a very slight breeze here this morning.
Well, 3rd and 16 to a team like this is not all that surmountable. But for Panthers, if they had that, because they're a run team, it'd be a little tougher. So we're looking at a team. They haven't thrown the bubble screen yet. They haven't thrown any kind of a screen. So it'll be interesting to see if they run screen or draw here.
Sluter's 2 of 4 throwing. Looking to throw again. Flushed out of the pocket. Oh! Throws as he's brought down.
Oh, wow,
and they're going to call it incomplete. They're going to call grounding on Sluter. Lena-Winslow wonders why that wasn't an interception.
Now
there's a lot going on there at the end of that play.
Boy, there sure was. Now, there's an athlete trying to make something happen. You can see he's running right now, and at the last second, he actually sees a receiver behind him, but there's no way he's going to get him the football. But that's high school football.
Valentine got a hand on it, but couldn't control it.
Forward pass on the quarterback. Result of the play is loss of down. We have 4th down.
It wasn't grounding. He was over the line of scrimmage.
Right. Combination of a lot of things right there. Good calls by the officials. We mentioned we got an outstanding crew here, and they made the right call there with about 3 different calls they could have made.
All right. It was a bit of an adventure the last time Tuscola punted. Chrisman is back again with Schwartz.
It's crucial to handle the punt. Forget about returning it.
High snap. Chrisman gets a nice bounce and gets it away. What a great athletic play. Boy, oh boy, it's kind of a wild beginning here in the first quarter.
It really
is.
It really is for 2 teams that have been so very successful. And that's what happens when you come up against that same kind of competition. That's exactly what should happen at this stage of the game. They're playing in the state championship, both teams 13-0. And the wind has a little bit of a factor right now, but it certainly didn't have anything to do with that punt. Just kind of a bad snap here. Kind of high. Good job right there of making sure that he was able to get it. That's a great play right there.
Got a pretty nice turf bounce there, too. Chrisman back to throw. Looking for. Oh, he got tangled up and falls down. That is Bruce. Coach Aaron says he is the best athlete on our team. Just got tangled up that time and lost his footing. He was wide open.
Wide open. It almost looked like a punt the way that thing was going down the field. I think the turf monster got him right here. He's wide open. You can see he's.
Whoops. Yep.
Yeah. That's exactly what happened. Now, what that did by that pass play on 1st down, it's going to make the linebacker from Tuscola actually play a little softer because they're originally thinking all they're going to do is run today. Well, they're not. They're going to throw a little bit.
On second down, they give to Valentine. Pops away from a would-be tackler and brought down from behind. Hunter Woodard with the tackle. There's a flag.
I think that's going to come back. It's a heck of a run.
Probably going to be a hold on Lena-Winslow, judging from where it was thrown.
We have holding, number 53 on the offense. 10-yard penalty, enforced on the spot of the foul. Repeat, second down.
Wow. Penalties, bad snaps, couple of turnovers. That's 2 penalties now on Lena-Winslow. Things not going as well as they usually do for the team in black.
And you could see that hold was on the center, kind of a combination of how the defensive man fell and how he kind of grabbed him at the end. And kind of a wasted block. He really didn't need it, but we've got a timeout now.
Lena-Winslow calls timeout with 1:17 to go here. First quarter, 7-0. Tuscola with the lead. These two teams met for the state championship back in 2010. Lena won that game 47-14, and you wouldn't blame the Tuscola folks if they were tired of seeing teams from this conference. They got second place in 2011 to Dakota. And in 07, they lost to Galena, another team from the NIUC.
Well, down here for the 1A and 2A, you see a lot of the same programs because they're just so solid. They're really well coached. They got really good athletes. And what I like about the fact is that when I say good athletes, that means they play a lot of sports. You know, they're in the wintertime, these kids are wrestling, which I think make great, tough football players. And they play basketball in the spring. Obviously, they run track and baseball.
Saturday on NBC Sports Chicago, the Blackhawks continue their Florida swing with a contest against the Florida Panthers. Coverage starts at 5:30 with Blackhawks pregame live or stream live on the NBC Sports app. Crispin back to throw.
Wow.
Wide open spaces on the near sideline. That's Bruce. Now he's cutting back across the grain. He's got one man to beat. Bruce takes it to the house.
Well, you called it earlier when you said Coach said that he was one of the better athletes. Just a screen, backside screen to the tight end right there. Well-designed play, well-executed play. And after he caught the ball and started cutting back against the grain, it was just up to him and his athleticism and speed to outrun the defense.
72 yards, Jack.
Backside screen. Watch the cutback right here. Just an outstanding job and block downfield. And right there, you're just looking at an outstanding runner getting it into the end zone. Big, big play. When they had 3rd and long, turns into 6.
He's got 9 of Lena-Winslow's 13 passing touchdowns. He's got 9 of those receptions from Ty Crispin. And they, you know, it's misleading because they have really done a great job throwing the football in the postseason. Crispin coming into this one, 5 touchdown passes in the playoffs to 3 different receivers. 5 of his 12 coming in were in the postseason. Now it's 6 of 13.
Well, when you can trust a quarterback, and of course he's a senior and he's a captain, and he also plays safety, so you're looking at an athlete. And when they have a running game as strong as they've had all year long, Coach just decided, look, we've got some good receivers, as you just saw in that touchdown run, that with the run game that we have, play action is going to open up an awful lot of receivers. And I tell you what, he looks like he needs to have a respirator.
He's gassed a little bit, didn't he? 72 yards.
Just a good job here. The backside screen. You'll see it coming to the bottom of your picture here. He delays. He's the tight end. He comes back down here. Good job of blocking right there. And now becomes the cutback. And the key to that whole play was the execution downfield by the wide receivers on the initial 2 first blocks before he cut back against the grain. That's just a great effort by the wide receivers helping out their tight end.
Averages 25 yards a catch this season. A big one there after a couple of turnovers and a couple of penalties, and a quick hitter for Lena-Winslow. That's something we didn't expect from them. Coach talked about not being able to play catch up, but they do come back and tie this game after falling behind 7-0.
You can see why he's exhausted. He weighs 235. That was a long run for him.
Short kick. That's a free ball, and Hull comes up and slides to cover it up before the Lena players could get there. So Tuscola will start at their own 26-yard line.
You know, the situation is that Lena just has taken advantage of their opportunities, and here's a chance right there. Wide open, and Turf got him, and that's him. Now here, look at, there's one block right there, a block at the top of your screen right there before he starts to cut back against the grain, and then it's just athleticism and 235 pounds of an athlete getting into the end zone.
1 minute to go in the first quarter. We're tied at 7. Sluter runs into the scrum, nothing there. Sluter is Tuscola's third quarterback in 3 years. So early on, they relied on the run a lot more to avoid turnovers. The defense was young, but Luke Sluter's really come on, run more physically about mid-season, and he's obviously turned into a true dual threat, needing just 35 yards to have over 3,000 yards combined this season for Tuscola.
Well, both teams, obviously, we talk about their offense, but the key to both of these teams really has been the success of their defense. Lena only gives up 102 yards rushing every game and 93, so they give up a total of 195 yards of total offense per game and 11 points. On the other side, Tuscola gives up 87 yards rushing, 113 passing, for a grand total of 200 yards of offense by their opponents, and holds their opponents to an average of 13 points a game. So don't let the offense, of course, that's always the pretty stuff and gets all the print. Defense is what gets you here in special teams.
Both defenses have been particularly stingy. In fact, Lena's defense held 7 opponents to a touchdown or less this year. You look at Andy Romine, the Tuscola head coach, carrying on that program's tradition. First down. Here comes Hull on the end around. They've been using him more as a runner here in the postseason. He had a couple of touchdown runs against Chester in week 1 of the playoffs. He had a touchdown run against Carrollton too. So he's become a dual threat in and of himself.
Well, not only that, but he is only 5'5", 150 pounds. Now he's an all-state baseball player, and he's one of the leading base stealers in the history of Illinois high school football. So that kind of gives you an idea of the kind of speed he has. And the other thing that I'm really impressed with, he has a GPA of 4.0.
That was second down. This is third down. Erickson spins, stays on his feet, gets the first down, and finally brought down out at the 40-yard line, a pickup of 8.
Big, tough, strong run right there. He's not the breakaway runner that many teams have, but he's a very good inside runner. Averages about 56 yards a game. Carries the ball only about, coming into this game, about 8 times a game, but does a good job in their power and counter run game.
Coach Romine calls him the straw that stirs the drink. 4 carries, 29 yards for Erickson. Sluter keeps it himself. He's taken over for Caleb Williams, quarterback who produced 3,000 yards a year ago for the Warriors. That's the end of 1 quarter. It's been exciting. Some turnovers, some iffy ball handling. Lena's bounced back from a couple of turnovers to tie this game after 1 quarter. Welcome back to Husky Stadium. Let's get caught up. A lot of sloppiness here in the first quarter. A mishandle on the punt and a couple of bad snaps exchanges rather. Tuscola took advantage of that and scored, went out in front early. Lena-Winslow has answered. They've got 88 yards of offense, Lena does. 72 of them on that touchdown pass to Bruce. 2 first downs, 2 penalties, 2 turnovers. They're filling up the stat sheet in a lot of bad spots, unfortunately for them. Sluter rolling out now for Tuscola. That ball tipped. Dalton Hull was the intended receiver.
Well, they're trying to get him out on the edges to get away from that pressure, because the front four from Lena has been doing a real nice job of really controlling the line of scrimmage. And ironically, the game in that first quarter was rather sloppy for 2 outstanding teams, but neither team was able to take advantage that much of that sloppy play with good field position. There should be actually more points on the board than there are.
Warriors 2 out of 4 on 3rd down. Sluter rolls right, tucks it under, nowhere to go. Good job by the Lena-Winslow defense to keep Tuscola right there and force 4th down.
The key to that defense is discipline. When you have a quarterback as active and athletic as Sluter, you have to stay home. You can't go flying all over the place. Good shot right there of All-Stater Ian Keel, number 55, 260-pound junior, very active. But you got to stay home and have discipline. You can't go flying all over. If you're in charge of a certain gap, you've got to do it. You got to contain. You've got to do it. Real important, and they've done it thus far.
Creasing an end-over-end punt, fielded inside the 20 by Chrisman. The quarterback reverses field and brings it out to about the 24-yard line, where Lena-Winslow will get started. They beat Forreston in the semifinals last week, 12-8. Neither team scored in the second half of that one. That was their 2nd straight conference foe that they defeated on the way to state, beating Freeport-Aquin in the quarterfinals.
Well, the thing that brought attention to me was when they beat Forreston twice in the same year. That's the toughest thing to do, is to play a team twice and beat them twice. But to play a team like Forreston, who's outstanding, who has won the state championship, that really put them on the map.
Valentine shakes a couple of tackles. He's still on his feet.
Bye-bye.
Across midfield, Valentine races to the end zone. Nobody's going to catch him. 76 yards, Ravion Valentine, his 26th touchdown of the season.
It is absolutely amazing. It looked like he was penned in on the sideline. Did a little ballet move down there. Comes here, just a power sweep, breaks it outside the cutback. Poor tackling, and a combination of power on his side and going back right now. There's the speed. 185-pounder. He's only 5'9". He averages about 10 yards a carry, and you can see why right there. A 4-year varsity starter.
Parker McGee on for the extra point. It's good, and Lena-Winslow's up 14-7. Valentine, a slow start. He scored on the first play of the game against Aquin in the quarterfinals, and in round 2 he scored on the second play of the game against Milledgeville. Here in the second quarter, he pops loose for 76 yards.
Well, just a great job of running right there. Just outstanding. A touchdown, and they're on top by that.
For Ravion Valentine, his 26th touchdown of the season, and a couple of big strikes for Lena-Winslow. A 72-yard touchdown pass, 76-yard run.
Yeah, he's outstanding, no doubt about it. When you talk about an outstanding high school football player, plays both sides of the ball, and also the thing that to me that makes him a tough inside runner, aside from that speed and elusiveness that he showed us, he is a wrestler. During the winter,
that
and
explains
a real,
it.
yeah, I mean, you know, when you get a wrestler, they're well-conditioned athletes. They're tough kids. They have great competitive attitudes, and that's kind of how he runs with the football. Very aggressive, very competitive.
McGee, the short kickoff hole, gets it at his 25, runs into his own player, and brings it out across the 30-yard line where the Warriors will start up. The Illinois Treasury. Do you have unclaimed property? Check today at illinoistreasurer.gov. The Illinois Treasurer's Office safeguards unclaimed property such as life insurance proceeds, missing paychecks, and forgotten bank deposits. There's $2 billion in unclaimed property. Check if your name is among the thousands who have unclaimed property at illinoistreasurer.gov. That's www.illinoistreasurer.gov. McInerney knows where every penny is he's ever earned. So.
Even if I had those billions in there, I'd still want to be up here with you.
Right. Erickson shakes a tackle, and he's got a first down and more out to the 46-yard line to pick up a 14.
Right now, it looks like both of these teams it's like a prize fighter. You know, a couple of rounds, loosen up, see if they're jabbing, if they got a right cross, left cross, this and that. They're both loosened up right now, and they're kind of opening up their offense and kind of showing what they have, and those backs are starting to run with a little confidence.
Well, Coach Romine said that we're going to throw a lot of formations at Lena-Winslow. Haven't seen how they'll line up, and we will make in-game adjustments. Cothran is the man in motion. He gets the handoff and tries to step it up inside as the edge wasn't there. He picks up about 3.
Well, when he first handed that ball off on the jet sweep, it looked like he had a lot of room outside, but just a nice job by the linebackers of pursuing and getting over there and squelched that play before it turned into a big gainer. Again, another wide formation. Spread them out. Get those linebackers out of there.
Second down, about 7. Trips receivers to the right for Sluter. He looks that way. Goes to his outside receiver, Cothran. He's got a first down and a pickup down to the 36-yard line. A 14-yard completion from Sluter to Hayden Cothran. Cothran, according to Coach Romine, was their best player in week 1. He missed 7 weeks with an injury, and they didn't get him back to the last week of the regular season. So his stats, you wouldn't know what kind of a player he is from his stats because he's been out. But what a great addition he has been to this offense. 1st and 10. Sluter on the keeper. He hasn't gotten a lot of yardage on those. Those are just kind of to keep the defense honest, right?
Well, it really is. And the other part of it is, if you'll notice now, they're really going into different formations with trips and splits on one side. And they're spreading the field big time. That'll allow him to start running a little bit more. But the other thing it does, it also creates opportunities for one-on-one coverage with your wide receivers.
Sluter comes out. He's got blood on his elbow, so it'll be Logan Tabling, the backup quarterback, is going to have to run this play.
Well, I'd suggest to you it's probably going to be a run of some kind.
Pierce, the man in motion. Give is to Erickson. Nice lane for him. He picks up about 3. It'll be 3rd down and 4 for the Warriors. I remember last year one of the coaches saying there can be beauty in a 3 or 4 yard run.
Absolutely, and especially if it's on 1st down. I mean, that's so crucial in high school football and any football period. 1st down is a very big play. You've got to get something out of it. You don't want to have 2nd and 10 because that creates all kinds of different issues. 1st down, get 3, 4 yards, 4 yards to 5 are really good.
3rd and 6. Sluter back in there, keeps it. Nothing there. Nothing there. Lena-Winslow's defense holds. I mean, they didn't hold like for a penalty. They held against the run there, and that'll bring up 4th down and decision time for Tuscola.
That front 4 is really doing a nice job for Lena, and that's McGee, Jones, Keel, and Bruce. They're very tough, just the 4 of them up front, very tough to match up against physically because you're going to have to double team one of them, and then that frees up the other 3.
Tuscola's going to go for it, or at least it appears they are. They need to get to the 26 for a 1st down, and it's short. Erickson going to come up about a yard short, so the Lena-Winslow defense turns it over on downs.
Good job again by that defensive front. Take a look right here. You can see how they slide with the blocks and the penetration. There's more dark jerseys in the backfield. Look at the sliding of the defensive lineman right there. Just a great job. You talk about kids when they have size, 245, 260, but these kids can still move. You could see that with that camera shot of the quickness.
13 carries, just 12 yards for Sluter. And a breakaway here, and that is Ormiston, and he is down to the 22-yard line.
Now he's another young man that's had really a nice season. He's only a sophomore. He's had 961 yards. He only averages about 74 yards a game, but you can see right there it takes a lot of pressure off of Valentine, because linebackers will start keen on Valentine, and that opens up him to the run. He's done a nice job all year long as far as offsetting the balance of Valentine.
51 yards for Ormiston, 6'1", 191-pound senior. He goes in motion this time. The give is to Valentine. And he's got nothing but open spaces. Valentine into the end zone from 22 yards out. His second touchdown run of the quarter. And it's a 2-touchdown lead for Lena-Winslow.
And again, an outstanding job by the offensive line. Watch the left side of your screen. Real nice job right there of blocking by Ormiston to get him into the end zone. So what happens with this is the offensive line does a real good job, but the key to it is the receivers and the other running backs also contribute to that blocking scheme, and that's how it frees up the long gainers for the running back.
McGee with the point after, and Lena-Winslow takes a 21-7 lead. It's a rah-rah moment for Ravion Valentine. His second touchdown run of the game puts the Panthers up 21-7. Big play scores for Lena-Winslow. They lead at 21-7 after trailing 7-0. There's a look. Some hiccups early, a couple of turnovers. But touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. Chrisman to Bruce for 72 yards. Valentine 76-yard touchdown run. And then Valentine for 22 yards. It's Lena-Winslow offense really showing its stuff, and a little bit of a little bit of variation there with that long pass play to start things off.
Well, the versatility, you got to keep them off balance, and that's what you need to do. I mean, they're obviously their focus back is Valentine, but what needs to happen is Chrisman, when they start out the game with play action passing, and of course Orston coming in and doing a nice job of running. So they've shown some outstanding balance here in the first half.
Pierce brings it out to the 35-yard line for Tuscola. Big plays. The story of this game so far for Lena-Winslow after a couple of early turnovers. Chrisman finds Isaiah Bruce for 72 yards, and all of those yards after the catch for Bruce. Then it's Valentine, Ravion Valentine, our key player of this game for Lena-Winslow, 76 yards. Another big run play here. This one from Ormiston, 50 yards on that one, and then followed Valentine with his quarterback Chrisman leading the way on that little pitch play. Now Sluter on the first down run. Again, that he's only getting about a yard per carry so far in this game.
Well, they need to kick in gear here, and right now Tuscola is the one that's showing, or excuse me, Lena's the one that's showing the defensive prowess. And Tuscola's having trouble moving the football offensively.
You see yards per rush numbers went up pretty big after the 76-yard rush, the 50-yard rush. That one intended for Dalton Hull. He was open but overthrown by Sluter, who's had a little bit of a breeze at his back here this morning.
Well, that route right there is going to scare the defensive backs a little bit, because he was open by about 10 yards. And so what happens then after that, they're a little leery, and they'll play a little softer. They'll have more of a cushion, and that can open up the jet sweep and a couple other passes out into the flat. Whenever you have a guy that's wide open past the defenders like that, that scares the defenders and also scares the coaches, and they're yelling at the DBs to get a little softer.
Luter completed his first 2 passes, 1 for his last 7 now thrown. Flushed out of the pocket. A lot of pressure. And down he goes. The Lena-Winslow defensive line really picking it up. Parker McGee in there. 2nd sack for Lena.
Just not allowing him to get outside, and that was the key right there.
Nobody open, yeah. Coverage sack and good pressure by the men in black as they lead at 21-7. We're past the midway point of the 2nd quarter. And Tuscola will have to punt again.
Should result in pretty good field position here.
Creasing a nice punt.
What's so very crucial on AstroTurf is catch the football first. Everything after catching the ball is gravy, because the bounces that the football takes on the turf can result in another 20 yards if you don't handle the ball properly.
Now Schwartz on the return.
Tuscola needs a stop here. They've got to get a stop because Lena-Winslow has really been hot the last several possessions. On fire, I'd say.
Give is to Coughlin, and he's wrestled down from behind by Andrew Erickson. Check that was Ormiston.
And again, that's a real good job right there of kind of balancing the offense a little bit, using the fullback, which they really haven't run at all in the first half. They run him on a trap upside in between the tackles right there, and because the linebackers are starting to slide a little bit outside to help on the plays outside.
Give to Valentine. He's grabbed right at the line of scrimmage and dropped by Will Little, number 33, 2nd on the team in tackles for Tuscola.
That's about the only time they've stopped him today at the line of scrimmage.
Bring up 3rd down and a couple for Lena-Winslow. One of the keys of this Lena-Winslow team, they've been injury free this year. Their center missed week 3 with a sore shoulder. Rick Aaron says he could have played if we really needed him. But other than that, they've been injury free all season long.
It's great to have an offensive line that has continuity.
Valentine on 3rd down, and he gets the carry in the 1st down. Pickup of 6 for Ravion Valentine. IHSA All-Stater for the 2nd time. He's got 116 yards already on 7 carries.
That's amazing. Last year as a junior, just to kind of give you an idea of his history, last year as a junior he had 1,600 yards. And this year, coming into this ball game, he has over 2,000 yards rushing. So that gives you an idea of his consistency as a varsity football player.
Nothing much there for Schwartz. Braden Von Lanken in there on the stop for the Warriors.
And that's Schwartz's first carry of the game, trying to get everybody in here to get a touch in the first half, trying to show a little balance with their wing tee, running counters and traps up inside. And on this particular drive, the Warriors are tightening up a little bit on that defensive front.
It's their 2nd tackle for a loss in this ball game. They need to come up with a stop here and try and get in the end zone before the half. And another big tackle from behind. Looked like Hunter Woodard in there on the stop for Tuscola.
Now that really kind of gives you an idea. He came from the backside and came flat down the line of scrimmage. Watch 75 coming flat down the line of scrimmage from behind, making the play right there. That's why he's going to Oklahoma State, because he has great feet, great quickness for his size of 285. And the key to that is, normally for a defensive lineman, if the guy in front of you pulls, get in his hip pocket and go with him, he'll take you to the ball. And that's exactly what happened right there.
Arkansas, Illinois, Minnesota, Notre Dame among those who wooed that young man before he picked Oklahoma State. Here's Chrisman on the keep.
He had a man wide open, deep. I mean, to tell you, McGee was wide open.
He's about 2 yards short of the first down. Will bring up 4th down for Lena-Winslow. Imagine they would go for it here, up 21-7. Just a little over 2 minutes to go in the first half.
I think they'll take a timeout here and make sure that they have the right call in here, because this kind of a situation could be crucial. I mean, this, even though they're up 21-7, this could be a crucial call right here with about a minute and a half left in the half to get something out of this drive, to get a score and at the least get a field goal.
The play clock was not moving at all, so not sure how the officials will handle this as they huddle up out there.
What excellent facilities here at Husky Stadium.
Reset the game clock. 1:56. Thank you.
What is this, the third time we've been here for state football?
They started rotating once University of Illinois got that extra game, that crossover game that went close up Champaign. They started rotating between Champaign last year, DeKalb this year, Champaign next year, so on and so forth.
Here's Valentine on 4th down. He's got that and more. There's a flag on the play as Valentine takes it down inside the 5-yard line. We'll see about the penalties.
That's going to negate an outstanding run there on 4th down. I think it's going to come back.
I believe that's the second time that's happened to Lena-Winslow in this game.
And both on big plays. It just seems like, you know, in a 3-yard gain, you never get that flag, but you always get it on a big play.
We have holding number 85 on the offense. 10-yard penalty. First, the spot of the foul. 4th down.
Now that was not only a big penalty for a couple of reasons, because of the fact that it negated a 1st down. Top of your screen, you can see right there, he's holding on to him right 33. He got a hold of him. Good call by the officials. But even though he got down to the 5-yard line, he would have had a 1st down, which would have kept that drive alive and probably led to a score. Now they're in a whole completely different situation. So holding, depending on when it comes, and it always seems to come in crucial situations.
Now it's 4th down and 13.
Now I think you kick it, but he'll be kicking kind of into a relatively strong crosswind. I'm going to take a timeout and talk about exactly what they want to do. A lot of pressure when you have a very strong wind, not only on the kicker, but on the center. Because if the wind is in the face of the punter, that means it's to the back of the center, and that's why you get those high, long snaps.
We saw that with Tuscola in the first quarter.
And there's a good shot of the wind. That's relatively, it's about a 1 to 2 club wind.
How does your slice factor into that?
I don't slice.
Equation.
The only thing I slice is a sandwich.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, and I never slice. Sure. 46 degrees, a little breezy, but sunny. You couldn't ask for a much better day here in late November in DeKalb.
This
is just great.
Under 2 minutes in the half, on an accepted penalty, the team has a choice to accept the wind the clock, either on the snap or take, I'm sorry, what they'll be able to do, they can take the penalty and have the clock start on the snap, and that is their choice. 4th down.
Like I said, we got a great crew. When they can explain it to the crowd like that, not only to the coaches but to the crowd, it really keeps you up on what's going on with the rules of football. Because those are some of those changes have come over the last couple of years on that particular change, and so it's great to see the official or hear the official explaining that to the crowd and to the coaches and to us,
especially to us. Parker McGee will punt. He's at his Own 41-yard line, and now another whistle, and Tuscola will take a timeout and talk it over. Andy Romine in his 3rd year as head coach, 34-2. He started as an assistant in Tuscola back in 2008. Would go on to become defensive coordinator and take over this outstanding program 3 years ago. 34 wins, 2 losses. Coming up next, we've got another similar matchup, a spread team against a run predominant team as Maroa Forsyth takes on GCMS out of the HOI conference. And that followed by 3A championship Pleasant Plains against IC Catholic, and the nightcap in 4A. Rochester is back again to take on perennial power Morris. That one's going to be on NBC Sports Chicago Plus.
IC Catholic, I started my early coaching career at IC Catholic, which is in Elmhurst, Illinois. I've done a great job there over the last several years.
Yeah, somehow they overcame that to make it to the state championship.
My coaching.
A minute 34 to go here in the first half. McGee angles it for the sideline, and it'll go out of bounds. So Tuscola has a minute 29 to try and cut into that 21-7 lead for Lena-Winslow. Some big plays for the Panthers. 72-yard touchdown pass, 76-yard touchdown run, a 50-yard run, and another 22-yard touchdown run. Big plays for a team that's really known more as kind of a 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Well, they've kept them off balance, no doubt about it, and the playmakers have made plays as advertised.
See what Tuscola can do with it with the wind at their back and a minute 29 on the clock. Sluter looking to throw. The defender falls down. And right off the fingertips of the intended receiver, Hayden Cothran. Oh, boy, he would love to have that one back.
How often would something like that happen where the defender stumbles and falls and you're wide open and it just kind of trickles out of your fingertips? Would that have been a monster play going into halftime? Just a monster play. What a great throw. Just lays it right up there. You can see him trip right here. Ball is right on the money.
Cothran had 5 catches in the win over Carrollton in the quarterfinals. That one just off the fingertips.
He kind of just drifted away from the ball a wee bit as it was coming down.
Erickson goes in motion. Here comes the blitz, and Sluter is dropped. That's Ormiston with the sack.
It's one of those situations where you have good athletes out on the field. Bottom of your screen right there, unblocked, untouched. That was the weak side. You could see there was a tackle there, but no tight end to pick him up. So he just came hard, and he's a good athlete. He's a running back, so that shows you his quickness. And he just zoomed right in on the quarterback. Great time to make that call, especially coming from your blind side, which is the backside of a right-handed quarterback.
Lena-Winslow defense has really stepped it up here. 3rd and 19. Sluter avoids another sack, and he throws for Cothran again, and that one was overthrown, and it'll bring up 4th down with 32 seconds to play in the half.
That's the pressure that can happen when you spread them out with your formations where there is no tight end and you don't have a back end to help block. It creates 2 weak sides, actually, where they're coming off the edges, puts the pressure on. That was just a missed tackle, or it would have been another big sack. So that was a good move by the quarterback, getting out of that tackle, and kind of a poor tackle on the defender side. You always want to keep the quarterback on your inside shoulder. Don't allow him to break it outside, especially when you have contained. Well, a smart move right here.
Timeout by Lena-Winslow. They've got 32 seconds to do something here before the half. So Tuscola unable to do anything with that last chance, maybe last possession of the half. And now Lena-Winslow talking about maybe trying to get something set up here.
Well, what's interesting is both of these teams have had great success the entire year of their 13-game wins coming into this. Lena has averaged first half 30 points a game in their first half, and their opponents have only had 4 points. So they go into halftime. Usually the score is 30-4 for Lena, and on Tuscola's side of the ball, they go into halftime usually leading 30-7. So they've had great success in the first half. We'll see what adjustments can be made in the second half to offset right now a little situation here for Tuscola. And they won't be changes. They'll be adjustments. There's a big difference between making changes in a game or with personnel as opposed to making adjustments in certain plays you're running, formations, and even your defenses.
Creasing the punt from his own 5-yard line. 32 seconds left in the half. And that one will sail out of bounds and be marked. He's still walking at exactly midfield. It goes out of bounds at the 50-yard line. So 26 seconds for Lena-Winslow. They're going into the wind.
Well, a couple of their big scores have been going into the wind, but they've been by foot as opposed by pass. And they have backs that can take it all the way. So that's not a problem. They certainly have about 3 plays here, depending on if they stay in bounds.
And Crispin will just take a knee. Rick Aaron will be glad to go into the locker room with a 2-touchdown lead here in the state championship game. A couple of early turnovers for Lena-Winslow, but their defense steadied itself, and the offense has really been, I would say, explosive in this first half with some pretty big plays.
Very obviously, it's been the case certainly in the second quarter. Both teams played very sloppily in that first quarter. Back and forth turnovers and field position. And of course, Tuscola could not take advantage of really good field position early in the ball game. But Lena then on the opposite side of that has done a great job of moving the football.
Let's go downstairs. Cameron Smith is with the head coach, Rick Aaron.
All right, Coach, obviously some miscues in that first quarter, but you guys cleaned it up. Defensively, a big stop going into halftime. How much momentum does that give you for the second half?
Well, yeah, like you said, we had a horrible first quarter, and that's why I told our kids at the end of the first quarter, we had our worst quarter of the year, and it was 7-7. So we toughened up on defense, figured some things out, as well as some offensive blocking schemes against their big fronts. So it feels good going into the half, but we got a lot of football to play.
And those blocking schemes led to Valentine's 26 and 27 touchdowns on the year. How huge has he been offensively for you guys, especially for today?
Well, the first one was all Ravion. The long one was. I mean, there was nothing out here. Our down scheme got blown up, and he just did what he's done all year long. And then I think on the second one, I think we had pretty good blocking over there, and you know, he's just been huge all year, and that's why he was honors and all-stater.
All right, Coach, we appreciate the time. Good luck in the second half. We will be back for more second half action from Husky Stadium at Northern Illinois. The Lena-Winslow Panthers lead the Tuscola Warriors 21-7. Great first half of action. We'll be back with more. We are back during halftime of this Class 1A matchup between Lena-Winslow and Tuscola. The Panthers holding a 21-7 lead. And edgy first quarter, first half of just sloppy play on both sides of the football, but we saw Lena clean it up. What did you see from the Panthers that, you know, saw them maybe miscues early, nerves, whatever it was, but they cleaned it up in the second half?
It really was. Both teams, especially, you just saw the turnovers, the sloppy, and then all of a sudden able to get the running game going, and being able to break tackles, I thought was a real key.
And definitely you talk about breaking tackles, and Valentine was huge as we see some of the miscues from both sides of the football, but one team was actually able to recover in that first half, and that was Lena-Winslow.
It was, especially Lena with the exchange between the center quarterback. That was absolutely huge, and that's nerves, Cam. That's completely nerves.
But Lena-Winslow rebounded, as I mentioned, with huge touchdown plays from Isaiah Bruce and also Valentine, who is one of the more dynamic runners that we have in the state of Illinois, regardless of what class that he plays in.
And hey, how about that Lena-Winslow passing game?
Yes.
Who saw that coming? But again, Just a nice pass out here in the flat, and what an individual effort here. And this is a big man running down the field, Cam.
Yes, it is. It's not a normal teenager. He's a grown man right there, Isaiah Bruce, on a huge 72-yard touchdown play from his quarterback. And that gave Lena some more just comfort and more momentum in this game as we look and see Ravion Valentine doing what he does best. This run here was his 26th touchdown on the season, and we will see number 27 right after that. And we heard Coach Aaron say in the interview that the blocking schemes really worked out for them, and then Ravion was just special.
And you watch highlights of Ravion all year, and again, it's more than just Ravion, but watch the broken tackles, and that's something that Tuscola absolutely has to address.
And there's the second touchdown, number 27 on the year for the senior 4-year player for the Lena-Winslow Panthers. And for Tuscola, they obviously have to do a lot better offensively to stay within this game, down 14 points. So I'm sure Coach Romine is telling that to his team and his players.
Well, you have to do better offensively, but you have to tackle as well. You have to execute. You've had Ravion Valentine tied up. You got to finish it. You've got to tackle him. Watch this wind, by the way. The wind is starting to pick up a little more gustier than it was at the beginning of the game. Could play a factor in the second half here as well.
All right, second half will be coming up shortly. We will be back with more from Husky Stadium on the campus of Northern Illinois as the Panthers hold a 14-point lead over Tuscola, 21-7. And we are back for our halftime segment from an impressive Class 1A first half between Lena-Winslow and Tuscola. And Cameron Smith standing here alongside Edgy Tim of NBC Sports Chicago. And Edgy, obviously, first half didn't go Tuscola's way. And let's get into the stats, because there's something that stands out to both of us when we see these stats.
There's a lot about the stats that really stands out, and to me, it's time of possession. You look at time of possession, I would have bet you dollars of donuts that it would have been flip-flop for time of possession, but really a lot of that, Cam, was that first quarter for Tuscola. They had the ball almost 8 minutes to begin the game. You take that 8 minutes out, you see the difference in the ball game and why Lena's leading this game.
All right, and the majority of the total yards from Lena-Winslow comes from Isaiah Bruce and also running back Ravion Valentine, who exploded for 2 big runs in that first half for touchdowns in the second quarter. So obviously Tuscola has to shore up their defense and make sure that they're tackling first to get within this game.
And again, tying into that time of possession, big plays. Didn't take Ravion very long to get downfield on a big play.
Did you bring your sunscreen? It's pretty sunny and nice out here. Right?
No. Don't need it. We're all good. We're all good.
We will be back with more from Northern Illinois University in this Class 1A matchup between the Panthers from Lena-Winslow and the Warriors of Tuscola High School.
It's muffed and those big linemen. The ball came. Gets the pile. It gets across the Bruce. And welcome back to Husky Stadium. Lee Hall, Jack McInerney back upstairs. Lena-Winslow, the 21-7 lead, outgaining Tuscola in that first half, Jack. Total yards 267 to 95.
It's an amazing statistic, and of course that first quarter was so poorly played by both teams. But what was interesting, I thought, was the fact that Tuscola was in the red zone twice and scored once, and Lena was never in the red zone, and yet they scored 3 times. So statistics do not always tell the true story.
Yeah, they were in the red zone. They were just passing through, right?
Correct. There you go.
They didn't stay long. 4 sacks in the first half for Lena-Winslow. Isaiah Bruce leading the way. 7 tackles for the Panthers. Let's go downstairs to Cameron Smith. He's with Andy Romine. We'll see what strategy he has for the second half.
All right, thanks, Lee. Coach, obviously the first half didn't go the way that you wanted to, but what was the message to your team at halftime to get back within this game, only down 14 points?
Well, we think we're right there. You know, we've had some shots over the top of their defense that we've either dropped or just overthrew a little bit. So, you know, we got to take advantage of those. But then defensively, you know, one of the keys coming in for us, we knew we were going to have to tackle well with our secondary guys at the point of attack, and both of their long runs there in the first half, one of them that went for a touchdown. We've got 2 guys into his shoulder pads at the line of scrimmage, so we got to get him on the ground. hopefully we've weathered the storm here, and we need to get a stop here and go down and answer the bell and turn this thing into a football game where we can see if we can't put it in the late rounds and try to see if we can find a way to win it.
All right, Coach, thanks for your time. We'll get you back over to your team. Good luck in the second half. All right, let's throw it back up to Lee and Jack.
Thanks, Cam. And that's one of the things Andy Romine talked about, Jack, before this first game about Valentine. Got to bring him down on first contact, limit his yards after first contact. They just weren't able to do that in the first half.
They certainly weren't. And it's kind of an interesting terminology because you can say he broke a tackle, and then the other guy can say, well, it's poor tackling. So It's kind of a fine line. But in many cases, when you see a back like Valentine and the productiveness that he's had over his 4-year varsity career, I think in most cases he's broken tackles. A back can make somebody look like a poor tackler. And it's a combination of the skill level and how they run, shoulder pad level, that type of thing. But I think we've got 2 outstanding football teams, and I like the way Coach put it there, a very positive attitude. They had opportunities. They had people open. They could have scored, and it didn't happen. So don't let the score deceive you. It's a close ball game.
And it makes you wonder what this game would have looked like had that interception not been overturned by a penalty that ended up turning into a touchdown for Tuscola.
Well, here's a kid that can really run. I mean, this is an outstanding high school football player. You saw the quickness with the feet and the cutback right here, and just outstanding open field ability. And the key was he got past the line of scrimmage with the cutback, and then he could get to the middle. Watch him lean over right there. That's his track background. He's breaking the tape. And
Very
again,
good
right
catch.
here, this is a great job of blocking at the point of attack and just gets into the end zone, leans over, breaks the tape going into the end zone.
Very good catch on the breaking of the tape. Valentine, 7 carries, 116 yards in the first half. 98 of those on his 2 touchdown runs, a couple of touchdowns. And they are the difference in this ball game. Ravion Valentine. We mentioned he's a 2-time All-Stater, 4-year varsity player at Lena-Winslow.
It's hard to believe he only had 7 carries. Well, he certainly was productive with
Right.
7 carries, wasn't he? But also that gives you the kind of an idea of the versatility of their offense, because Armiston had a couple of nice plays. Schwartz, the other running back, carried the ball once or twice. And, of course, they opened up the game with something they don't normally do, which is throwing the football. So that kind of caught Tuscola off balance, and it was very effective in that first half.
That's 6 touchdown passes in the playoffs for Ty Chrisman to 3 different receivers. So they have been able to throw it. They've maybe made a point of it in the postseason to throw it a little more. I think you have to have a little bit more in your quiver weapon-wise coming into the postseason.
There's no doubt about it, because when you get to this stage with the kind of competition that you're going to play in the playoffs, you've got to have versatility in your offense, and that's certainly something that they have opened up. They got through the regular season with just their run game more or less, but now in the playoffs they kind of added that other bit to their arsenal, which is the passing game.
And a touchback. Pretty good kickoff there by Creason for Tuscola. So Lena-Winslow will start at their own 20. Now, Tuscola has come from behind before this season. They have been challenged. Back in week 6, they trailed Warrensburg-Latham 12-0 in the first quarter. Ended up winning that game 34-18. They fell behind 7-0 last week on the opening kickoff to Athens before beating them by a touchdown. So they have shown the ability to come back. Can they do it against Lena-Winslow? We shall see. The Panthers deferring to the second half and opening the second half with possession. Valentine picks up a couple of yards on first down. He's been good, Jack, since his very first game as a freshman. Lena-Winslow was playing Ackland. They were down, I believe it was 21-0, and Rick Aaron said, we were playing for our playoff lives. The coaches wanted me to put this freshman into the game. I didn't want to. He put him into the game. 4 carries, 140 yards, 3 touchdowns as a freshman.
And he's never been out of that backfield
right.
since.
Head up, head up.
Now this is all new formations. They did not run this in the first half at all.
2nd down and 8 for Valentine. And he's brought down. Andrew Erickson with the tackle at the 25. That'll bring up 3rd down and 5 for Lena-Winslow here on the first drive of the 3rd quarter.
This is a highlight formation basically for Valentine, because they go with double tight, double wing, which is really a balanced run attack. Now, you don't have a lead blocker, but the thing is that you got a lot of power and you overmatch the line of scrimmage with the amount of blockers you have. You're going with almost 7 to 8 blockers against 5.
Panthers 2 for 4 on 3rd down. The give is to Ormiston, and he's got the 1st down and more out to the 34-yard line. It's a pickup of 8 for Sean Ormiston. He had 3 touchdowns and a touchdown catch in the quarterfinal win over Freeport-Acwin, where they put up 67 points. That tied a 1A playoff record.
Well, that was a nice run by Sean Ormiston. It was a good job by the guard and tackle pulling on that counter where the guard leads up and the tackle Brogy and Unran.
Nothing doing that time. Woodard stops Valentine at the line.
That's a good matchup there of two all-staters right here. Valentine, again, you can see how he sheds the block and comes over and makes the tackle. He's not going to miss too many tackles. Now, there's a combination there of, is he breaking the tackle or missing the tackle? In that case there, he didn't break that tackle at all. Good job by Hunter Woodard, a very active defensive lineman.
6'5", 285. We mentioned he's headed to Oklahoma State. The up-back Ormiston with the carry.
You know, it's kind of interesting. You talk about Oklahoma State. How many players have you seen from this area go to Oklahoma State, from the state of Illinois? That might be the first one.
Not too many, yeah.
And people say, well, how in the heck would Oklahoma State come in this area and recruit and get a kid to go there? Well, part of it is sometimes there's a connection in the family. Maybe dad went there, maybe there's an uncle went there, maybe there's relatives that live in that area. There's sometimes, in many cases, a geographic connection for a kid to go to a school that he normally, or you don't normally hear a kid goes to from this area, or some kind of a family connection.
3rd down and 7. Ooh. 2 men in motion. That's going to be a penalty as Chrisman rolls out, and pass is complete. It's going to come back.
I'm surprised it wasn't blown dead immediately.
I thought it usually was.
Because I don't think they had snapped it before. Let's take a look here.
We did play-by-play of the Dunlap-Washington game in 5A semifinal last week, and one of the Washington player, I can't remember if it was a Washington, I think it may have been a Dunlap player. I don't remember. I don't remember which team it was, but one player went in motion, the other player turned to go in motion at the same time and just froze. We played a game called Frozen Tag back on the East Bluff in Peoria when I was a kid. And it was just funny to see because that kid turned and saw the other kid in motion and just stopped in his tracks. That didn't happen for Lena on that play. 3rd down and 12.
Again, new formation here. Draw a screen. Power sweep.
Pitch to Valentine. No edge there. And a couple of guys bring him down. That's Ben Dixon, number 84, Cale Cemente, finishing him off as the Tuscola defense starts to pick up steam here in the 3rd quarter.
And that's certainly very important for them on this first drive. You can see the good pursuit, and you can see right there a good job of keeping his inside shoulder to the outside shoulder of the runner to force him to try and turn the ball up. Great job of stretching it out right there defensively and coming up with that big stop. They're going to get good field position here.
Parker McGee to punt into the wind. And
off the side of his foot.
Yeah, it was. I know you don't slice, so you're probably not familiar with the term shank either, but that's what that looked like. Tuscola.
Ooh, good hit.
With the big stop here in the early portion of the 3rd quarter. Now they try to do something with it offensively. Tuscola fans fired up, looking to get their team back into this one. 21-7, the Lena-Winslow lead. Stay tuned for our Country Financial Game Break as a part of our IHSA Greatest Championship Game Series. You'll see highlights from the 1996 2A title game between Central A&M and Leroy. I've got friends down at Central A&M. Hello, everybody in Assumption and Moweaqua. How about that?
Well, right now, Tuscola's got some really good field position, so it's a good start for them in the second half.
Sluter the give to Erickson. He's grabbed right at the line of scrimmage. And it's Parker McGee with the stop for Lena-Winslow as that stingy defense keeps it up here in the third quarter.
Again, that first down play, very crucial. Good job by the defense right there of Lena-Winslow. It's always impressive to see these two-way players and how very effective they are and active.
Dalton Hole is the man in motion. He's their leading receiver. And ball tipped at the line of scrimmage and batted down. Didn't see who got that, but that's that Lena defensive line wreaking havoc again. They couldn't get to Sluter this time, but they break up the pass and bring up third down.
Well, you want to get the ball into the hands of your best player. Now, right here, you can see Hole come across your screen and the ball's tipped. Good job of coordination there by the defensive lineman. Shows you their athleticism right there. And of course, we saw him with a great 80-some yard run for a touchdown on a screen pass, and then also shows you his defensive abilities right there and athleticism by being able to get up and bat that ball down.
Tuscola just 2 of 8 on third down. Looking for a big conversion here, trying to get back into this ball game. Sluter the fake. He's got a little room to run, but not enough. He's going to be about a yard short. And we'll see if Tuscola will go for it on 4th and 1.
I don't think there's going to be any doubt that they're going to be going for it. Well, they cannot afford to be in the red zone again and not come up with a score. They've got to take advantage of this field position. Great shot of the coach right there, shouting out encouragement.
A graduate of Atwood Hammonds High School is no longer there. 4th and 1. Give is to Erickson, and he's pretty close.
I think he got a pretty good mark there. I think he's going to get it.
Judging by the mark, it's a first down. Tuscola players are indicating first down, and now the referees follow suit. There's Erickson.
And where do you think they're going to run behind? They're going to run behind Hunter Woodard. Good surge right there. Whenever you want to get first down or you want to get in the end zone, always watch the surge of your offensive line. If they get across the line to be gotten and they're across it, that means that the back will be also.
Hole in motion. Sluter, another keeper, and again, not much there. Lena-Winslow's defense has been very effective against that play call all game long.
They've just been very effective against Sluter in general, not only against the draw or the quarterback trap up the middle, but also his rolling out to get away from the pressure. Good shot right there of Michael Jones, 245-pound senior, been very effective up front, and again right next to Isaiah Bruce, number 88, 235-pounder.
18 carries, 14 yards for the quarterback. Second down. Little draw for Erickson. He's got the first down and more, and finally stumbles down at the 4-yard line. A pickup of 17 for Andrew Erickson. That's Tuscola's longest play of the game.
And a big play before that obviously was the quarterback sneak, but here's just a good job. There's poor tackling right there. He tried to block tackle him, and you cannot do that. You got to wrap him. Good job of just running the draw.
Tuscola 1st and goal. Their fans are on their feet. The Warriors looking to get within a touchdown. Hole goes in motion. Sluter rolling right, looking for Hole. Makes a move in the end zone. Touchdown. What a nice move. He was covered initially, turned around, and got open for the 4-yard touchdown pass from Luke Sluter to Dalton Hole, his 18th touchdown catch of the season.
Well, it's amazing that they have not been able to get the football to him more often. You can see him right on the top of your screen in the corner right there. He's only 5'5", 150 pounds, but he's a great athlete with tremendous speed, as we mentioned earlier. He leads the state of Illinois in stolen bases. He's an outstanding baseball player. But as a target at 5'5", it's kind of tough.
Cade Creason hit a 27-yard field goal to beat St. Teresa. He hits his second extra point of the afternoon, and Tuscola is within a touchdown as Luke Sluter finds his favorite target, who keeps his feet in bounds and scores.
The 2017 IHSA Football State Finals are brought to you by Country Financial. Take simple steps today at countryfinancial.com/simple steps.
From high above Husky Stadium, it's 21-14. Lena-Winslow's lead cut to 1 touchdown on the pass from Sluter to Hull. A 7-play drive, 34 yards, took 2 minutes and 50 seconds, and a big 4th down conversion helped keep that drive alive.
That could be the big play as we look back on it when the wrap up after the ball game. Depending on what the result is, that could be one of the bigger plays. A 1-yard gain to get that 1st down could be the bigger result of the outcome.
I'm really glad I mentioned it, John.
Thank you.
And another touchback that proved to be an effective weapon in that last drive. As Creason kicks it into the end zone again, we'll see if the Tuscola defense can stop Lena-Winslow for a 2nd straight time and get the ball back.
Well, let's see what they do here on 1st down. Again, this is crucial to keeping drives alive when you want to run the clock, and that's usually been the strength of Lena-Winslow, is their offensive strength, not only running the football but controlling the ball and the clock, and that's what you certainly need to do when you have an explosive offense, much like Tuscola has.
They stayed on the ground. They're all 6 plays on that last drive. They give it to Valentine that time, and Erickson drags him down after a pickup of about 4.
Nice job right there, the trap inside. You run that trap when you get an aggressive defensive lineman, and that was starting to happen with Tuscola. Those linemen were coming hard, so they ran the trap on the 1st down, and was very successful, picking up about 5 yards is what you want to get.
Valentine now over 700 yards in the postseason. The give that time is to Schwartz. He's knocked back at the line of scrimmage, stays on his feet, takes it around left end, still on his feet, and is very close to a 1st down after being seemingly dropped for a loss, but he kept his feet, and I think he's a little worn out after running the width of the field. That is a 1st down.
What a run right here. He bounces off. That's just poor tackling right there. 3 guys. And then the wherewithal to get to the outside and turn on the speed. Again, the spin off a bad tackle. And he comes up he picked up the 1st down. What an incredible effort right there. And that's only the 2nd time he's carried the ball today. And based on that effort and the exhaustion, it might be the last for a while.
721 yards on the season coming into the ball game. This is Valentine. Somebody got a handle on his ankle. Ball's loose. And it's a turnover. It's the 3rd turnover of the game for Lena. And Tuscola gets it back in Lena-Winslow territory. Valentine slow to get up after fumbling the football.
Big turnover right there. And he won't want to come off the field, but he's going to have to. You can see the trap block right here. He stumbles, and that's part of why the ball came out, is because he's spinning around. He loses track of the football because his shoulders are swinging around, and a good job of ripping at the ball. You can see anybody that's grabbing at it. Big turnover right there. Let's see if there can be a good result here for Tuscola on this effort.
Keep an eye on Valentine, who's really favoring that ankle. Sluter to throw on 1st down. It's complete to Hull. He's driven to the turf immediately as he catches it. Noah Trumpy with the tackle. 3rd catch of the game for Dalton Hull. And one thing that Andy Romine said coming into this game was Dalton Hull isn't Dalton Hull if we don't force people into the box. They haven't run the ball as effectively as they'd like, and that's limited Hull's catches.
Really has, and it's been a good job of going over the top of the safety, almost try and double team him occasionally.
2nd and about 3. Sluter pump fakes, throws for the end zone. It's Hull again, and he overthrows him.
Well, you know, that injury that we saw to Valentine, he's trying to come back out in the field right there at the bottom. I saw him trying to go out, and the coaches called him back. Lena has 9 players that go both ways at one time or another. So when you lose an outstanding player like that, not only your running back, but outside linebacker, or excuse me, corner, that's a dent in your game plan, both offensively and defensively.
126 yards on the game for Avion Valentine. Third and 3 now for Tuscola, looking to even this game after a big turnover. Sluter, nothing there again. Lena-Winslow gets the big stop again from Isaiah Bruce. And that'll bring up 4th down. They converted on the last drive and scored. And they're 4th and 3 this time. A little bit more territory to cover on 4th down.
Well, when they ran that motion with Hull, what that does is it's a combination to give you a jet sweep look. And the whole idea is to get the secondary to adjust and the linebackers to loosen up a wee bit. But what's happening is that does not loosen up the defensive front 4, and they're the ones that are making the play against the quarterback on that particular play. There's no movement by them for that formation. They adjust to what the linemen are doing.
4th down. Sluter complete to Hull at the 20. He's running east-west, and now he's got some room down to the 10-yard line where he's forced out of bounds at the 9. That's a pickup of 18 on 4th and 3. A couple of big 4th down conversions here in this 3rd quarter, and this gives Tuscola 1st down and goal.
Well, you can see the shiftiness and open field ability right here. He's going against the grain. He's almost losing yardage, and at 5'5", 150, he's not a power runner, but he's an elusive runner. Now, they did not get the ball to him in the first half, I think, but one time. Here, they're obviously making a concerted effort to get him the football more often because he has over 1,000 yards of receiving.
4 of the 6 completions by Luke Sluter are to Dalton Hull, and a pickup of about a yard that time for Erickson.
Again, their 1st down being very crucial. They didn't get a lot. And again, they need to take advantage of this turnover. Good teams can always take advantage of the turnovers and turn them into points.
Final 2 minutes of the 3rd quarter. Tuscola down 21-7 at the half. They could tie it with a touchdown here. 2nd down. Sluter fakes. A little bit more room to run for him that time. He gets down to the 5-yard line where it'll be 3rd down.
And he's a big, lanky quarterback at 6'2", 195. Now, he's only a junior. So when he runs that draw, quarterback draw, that spread, he doesn't really get down low. He kind of stands up a little bit, which makes him a bigger target for the linebackers and defenders to tackle. He's not a power running quarterback, nor a real elusive runner. He's just very effective coming out of that quarterback spot running the football.
With that run, he goes over 3,000 combined yards on the season. On 3rd down, Sluter to throw again. Nobody open. Now he has a man, and it's off the defender. He had Dalton Hull open about 10 yards to the left of the intended receiver, Cade Creason.
That was a good job by the defensive front of Lena. They did not get suckered in on that. They stayed flat along the line of scrimmage, and when he rolled out, they stayed flat down the line of scrimmage to contain him, and they got their hand up and deflected it. A good defensive job by the front of Lena.
Creason is their field goal kicker. He's 5 of 7 on the year, but they go for it again on 4th down. They're 2 of 3 on 4th down. He's got a man. It's complete, and it's a touchdown to Cementi. They called it a touchdown.
I didn't see the officials raise that up, and I'm kind of surprised in the replay there.
Sluter the rollout to Cale Cementi, big number 91. His dad is the defensive coordinator, but his offense has Tuscola 1 point away from tying this ball game.
Top of your screen, you can see him going down flat under the linebackers. Yes, he was in initially when he caught the ball, no doubt about it. Good call by the officials. A good route by Cale Cementi, but he's a nice target at 6'6" down in the red zone. Bad snap.
Bad snap. Hole with it, and he's dragged down. So A bad snap keeps Lena-Winslow in the lead, 21-20.
A bad snap, but really an outstanding defensive effort right there by Ty Chrisman, making sure that he wasn't suckered in and being alert and making the play. Oftentimes when you have a bad snap and the play goes awry, the defenders somewhat relax a wee bit and don't make the play. And that was just a good job by Ty Chrisman, keeping his head in the ball game and making a nice play on Dalton Hole there. You can see the high snap right there. He tries to get to the outside, and there's really a good job by Ty Chrisman. That's his job, is outside contain on extra points and field goals, and oftentimes they get lazy mentally and physically and don't really catch out of that. Got to give him credit for that. He stayed alert and made the play.
And I don't want to play cards with Dalton Hole. Did you see him fake the pass, and there wasn't a white jersey within 20 yards of it?
But Ty Chrisman didn't know that.
Right, exactly. It was a heady play to no avail. So that extra point, you know, you see those happen all the time. They prove to be costly in ball games.
More so, Lee, in high school games. I think oftentimes our fans that watch college and pro football just make the assumption about extra points and field goals. That is not the case in high school football. You cannot take those for granted. Your combination of the snap, the hold, and the kick. A lot of pressure on those high school players.
Creason with his third straight touchback. Valentine back out on the field for that kickoff.
Kind of keep your eye on him and see if he shows any kind of a limp or whatever, because that would have a big factor in if he's going to carry the ball and how often he's going to carry it.
And how about the effectiveness, the weaponry of Cade Creason, with now 3 touchbacks in a row with that wind at his back. And that's given Lena-Winslow a long field, maybe affected their play calling, and Tuscola's defense has been able to stop them.
Yeah, good point. No doubt about it. Field position is crucial when you have a high-scoring team that scores usually about 45 points a game, and they got to start from their own 20-yard line in most cases, rather than getting a run back when you have outstanding open field runners that Lena-Winslow has. And they set up the returns on the kickoff that would result in excellent field position, almost in many cases to midfield, and that kick in the end zone negates that.
Sean Orniston picking up 5 on first down. That'll be the last play of the third quarter. A good quarter for Tuscola, down 2 touchdowns. They've rallied. They are back within 1. And you can see Rick Aaron trying to rally his team, who got shut out, got banged around a little bit. Valentine got hurt. Erickson, some big third and fourth down plays for Tuscola, and a couple of touchdown passes to make this a 1-point ball game. (21-20) our score. Let's check out our game story. Short 2-yard gain brings up second down. Another muff snap. That's the second one of this drive, and it looked to me like Tuscola's on it. He goes in motion this time to give us to Valentine, and he's got nothing but open spaces. Valentine into the end zone from 22 yards out. Hole goes in motion. Sluter rolling right, looking for Hole, makes a move in the end zone. Touchdown. What a nice move. He was covered initially, turned around, and got open for the 4-yard touchdown pass. Boy, that guy talks a lot. Got us quite a ball game here, partner.
We sure do, and what a great job that Tuscola has done in this second half. And to give you an idea of how well that they've come up with it, and then they come up with a turnover here, I don't think the officials are buying it. Tuscola in the first half had 95 yards. In the third quarter alone, they had 78. So you talk about a rebound and adjustments made at halftime. You got to give a lot of credit to the coaching staffs when they make those kind of adjustments. But the kids that still have the confidence that they can still make that adjustment and come back, and that's what they've done here. We got ourselves one heck of a ball game.
Big third down play here to open the fourth quarter. The give is to Valentine. He's met at the line of scrimmage and wrestled down there. Not sure he got it. Braden Von Lanken.
Big stop.
With a big stop for Tuscola. And it is 4th down and inches.
Now this is what comes into play when, well, oftentimes we have a lot of players going both ways. Well, you can see the surge right there. Nobody blocked him at all. It wasn't as if he slipped off a block. Nobody blocked him whatsoever. So Braden Van Lanken makes a nice play right there. 6'2", 245-pound junior on block, but makes the tackle.
4th and inches for Lena-Winslow, clinging to a 1-point lead. Quarterback keep, and it's a 1st down for Ty Chrisman.
And a 1st down by a lot. What they do there, they break the splits down. The guards block right into the center shoulders, and the tackles block down into the hips of the guards, and it's a wedge block. And the quarterback just follows it in, and that's the surge of momentum. And they certainly got about 4 yards out of that little 1 yard or half yard that they needed. And that's the kind of play when you see quarterback sneaks. You go in behind those linemen, and they just drive back, and you pick up that big 1st down. And that was a big 1st down.
Didn't they use a flying wedge when you were a player? Yeah. Oh, a little collision back there between Chrisman and his backs.
Now, when Newt was recruiting me, he said, we're going to get out of that formation if you'll come here with us.
Check this out.
Again, just some poor activity in the backfield right there, which is unusual when you're in your 14th ball game of the year.
Loss of 5. You don't see that very often from this Lena-Winslow team. C.J. Picasso was right there.
And you can't, I mean, that's a big play on 1st down. You need a 5-yard gain, not a 5-yard loss.
2nd and 15. Here's the pitch to Valentine. And tackled at the 30-yard line. Woodard right there for the tackle. The big fella. You know, you talk about him going to Oklahoma State. He's already well connected, as you might imagine, with that program. They have Thursday night chats. They do like a group phone call. And, you know, Andy Romine has been very impressed with him as a player. He's been very team first, very coachable, very selfless, in spite of the fact that he's going to a D1 program next year. Gotten a lot of attention.
Well, he's a favorite with his teammates also.
3rd and 13 now for Lena. Schwartz is the man in motion. Chrisman to throw. He's looking downfield, and he overthrows Bruce, who was open. We saw Bruce catch a 72-yard touchdown pass earlier in this game. First pass of the half for Lena-Winslow. And Bruce is slow to get up. That turf is pretty hard.
That it is. I'm kind of surprised that they went with the long one rather than something into the flat that would have given him a little more opportunity, which is a little better percentage play than this. Now, he had him beat, but again, the wind is a factor. The quarterback's throwing with the wind, and the ball's always going to sail. It's a very tough pass to be accurate with when you have a strong wind at your back, and we're talking about an 18-mile-an-hour wind at his back. I think he just landed on his tummy there, and at first it looked like he got the wind knocked out of him. But you know, the other thing is on turf,
cramping up too,
a combination of that and sometimes ankle twisting when you have the turf is a common injury. But if all the games this weekend are going to be like this one, this is going to be one heck of a state championship weekend down here in DeKalb. Or it's up here in DeKalb.
It's up here for me. It's down here for you, right?
Correct. Well, it's kind of
across,
down and over here a wee bit.
Your Irish is coming out. You've said wee bit about 3 times in this quarter now.
Well, you remember Dylan from Montini?
I do. Yes, I do. Bob and my favorite singer, Bob Dylan. Right.
Right.
Yeah. Here you get a look at Isaiah Bruce. I always think of Isaac Bruce of the St. Louis Rams when I say Isaiah Bruce.
Well, 6'3", 235-pounder. He certainly was running downfield pretty good there for a big man.
He's had a great game defensively. 7 tackles on the day to go along with that touchdown catch.
Well, they're going to get a very good field position here now.
McGee to punt with the wind at his back.
Nice kick.
Dalton Hole watches it bounce over his shoulder. He's going to take it on one hop at the 8-yard line. Running for the sidelines. and a pretty good pickup, and he picks up about 20 yards. That was a pretty athletic play by Dalton Hole there to get Tuscola out of a hole. He was at the 8-yard line, and it'll be Tuscola ball. They've scored a couple of touchdowns in a row. We'll see if they can take the lead when we come back. Beautiful day in DeKalb, sunshine, a little bit of a breeze, about 18, 19 miles an hour. Couple of great drives in a row for Tuscola, down 21-7 at the half. A big play on 4th down, then Sluter to Dalton Hole for the touchdown. That made it a 1-score game. And then the same combination here as Dalton Hole goes east to west and gets it down inside the 10-yard line. And then it's Hole again, this time to Cale Cementi. The extra point was no good, but it's a 1-point ball game now, and Tuscola has the ball back. This time they're going into the wind. We'll see if that has any factor on them. Cementi in motion. Gives them an extra blocker. Erickson, somebody grabbed at the football, but he hung on to it.
Good job right there. That's just power football. And picking up 4 yards on 1st down. Very crucial to keep the ball, the clock running here, certainly in the 4th quarter when you get in a ball game like this. You don't want to have any turnovers in your own territory.
Rick Aaron said this week, just watching Erickson on film, it looks like it's like trying to tackle a bowling ball, because he is just a force once he gets the football. Pass complete, Sluter to Dalton. No, check that, is not Hole. That's number 4, Brandon Douglas, 5'6" sophomore, his first catch of the ball game.
And a nice route right there. He ran the slant from being outside in the split position. He got inside position on the corner, and it was thrown between the corner and the linebacker. Good throw and a good route.
1st down for Tuscola. Their offense has come alive here in the 2nd half.
I think after that first possession, they've got a lot of confidence in themselves, and the defense really has come up and made some nice stops also.
Tuscola has to call timeout. You could see Sluter trying to communicate with the sideline there, and he looked to be a little agitated, unable to get the play call in, and so they call timeout here. A big point in this ball game, 7:32 to go in the 4th. You don't want to burn your timeouts, but at the same time, when you're on a roll like this, you don't want to have any kind of a problem offensively on 1st down.
And sometimes timeouts take away momentum. And so certainly at this point right now, it doesn't hurt Lena-Winslow. They're fine with them taking that timeout, because that can help them make some adjustments, but kind of throws off the rhythm a wee bit for the Warriors of Tuscola.
Friday on NBC Sports Chicago, the Bulls' West Coast road trip continues in Golden State as the Bulls try to topple the defending champs. And you can see 2-time IHSA basketball champ Sean Livingston with the Warriors out of Peoria. Coverage begins at 9 on NBC Sports Chicago. Bulls pregame live or stream live on the NBC Sports app. Had to get that Peoria reference in there. It's 1st down now after the timeout. Dalton Hole in motion. So it's trips receivers to the left for Sluter. A lot of traffic over there. It was intended again for Douglas, and it's incomplete. It'll be 2nd down for the Warriors.
And he's very lucky and fortunate that he got that off, because he was getting heavy pressure from the backside, and within a step of sacking him, and the way he was coming, that sack could have resulted in a fumble right there.
Sluter again now over 3,000 yards combined rushing and passing this season for the Warriors. Both these teams 13-0. Lena-Winslow ranked number 1. Tuscola ranked number 2 in the final poll. Sluter's pass swatted down at the line of scrimmage. Isaiah Bruce back out there and making a difference at defensive end.
Well, he's 6'3". That helps a lot. But one of the other things that helps a lot is when you're not covered. What I mean by that is there was nobody to stop him. You can see right here just his athleticism, timing it for when the quarterback throws, but he just kind of looped out on the outside. He wasn't blocked by anybody. In many cases, you want to tie him up and block down towards his legs, which forces his hands down to protect himself, and that ball is then released and goes over. But there, that didn't happen.
3rd and 10. Sluter pump fakes. Now looks for the far sideline. There are 3 defenders there. Cothran was the intended receiver.
And that ball kind of hung up in the air there, and it allowed the safety to come over and turn it into almost triple coverage.
So the Tuscola defense, so good in the third quarter, stalls out here at their own 44-yard line.
A little pump fake there to hold that safety, but the ball hung a little more, and that's the safety you saw jumping into your screen. You can see him coming right over the top right there. The pump fake initially was to keep him in position, but the ball hung up in the air and allowed him to get over there. Big stop right there.
Sixth punt of the day for Cade Creason. Little end over ender that bounces at the 25-yard line into that wind.
Dalton Hole is all over the place. It's down there on punt coverage. Doing a nice job there. Well, pretty good field position right there as far as Tuscola putting Lena in a tough grind here.
Well, and that was the story of the third quarter. Lena's offense kind of stifled, as we talked about during the break. They've had some big plays, but not really an extended drive.
And there's a good look at the rushing game and the production right there, and you can see the difference in the second half, 173 to 31.
Here's Valentine. It's a couple of yards.
And it's crucial for him to be productive in this drive. That wasn't flashy, but it was enough to pick up 4 or 5 yards. Yeah, and first down, very crucial.
Valentine favoring that ankle coming off there late in the third quarter, but it appears to be none the worse for wear here in the fourth. 6:40 and counting left in regulation. It's a 1-point ball game. Here's the give to Valentine, and met there by a couple of defenders. It's Erickson and Woodard in there for the tackle as Tuscola double teams Valentine. Doing a better job against him.
They really are, but one of the things was here, there was nobody on the corner. They had a double wing, which means a tight end and the wing. So when he ran that motion or jet sweep, the corner and safety just came flying up because the formation was so tight it didn't force them to be spread out and allow them to force them to make tackles on space. They're also well scouted. Excuse me, Lee.
Out of the eye this time. Chrisman rolls right and throws right over the intended receiver, Schwartz. And that'll bring up fourth down. And Lena will have to punt. I believe that's their third punt of the second half.
Good play call there. He had him wide open on that bootleg. Showing flow in one direction because they've been so effective running the ball in one direction, and you come back with the quarterback away from that, and he was open. We just couldn't deliver the football. Good kick.
Chrisman's kick is away. Cole looking up into the sun, fields it as his own 24-yard line, and picks up about 10.
Better job of coverage there than there was on the previous punt, where he was able to pick up about 20. But you can see that he's a baseball player, and he's back. He's got great hands as far as catching the football and punts and kickoff returns. The ball is not going to hit the ground, and he also has great speed. So once he catches it, you saw how he was earlier. He's a little scat back in the open field. He's a threat.
Tuscola scored the first touchdown of this game. The next three scored by Lena-Winslow. It was a 21-7 game at half. Tuscola 2 touchdowns in the third, and looking to take the lead here. Erickson to give on first down, picks up about 3. He was a former center. They moved him to running back as a freshman, and Coach Romine says he's been good from day one at running back.
Well, in many cases as freshmen, a lot of kids haven't developed physically, or they haven't been in the weight room all that time, and you get over the years, 2 or 3 years in the weight room, it develops you a little different physically.
Sluter to throw on second down, and great coverage that time. It was Schwartz on the coverage. Gage Schwartz had an interception in the quarterfinal game against Akron. He was Johnny on the spot there.
That was an outstanding. You can see him right here. He's in the slot looking at the slant. He picks that off, and he's gone. He almost kind of set it up so that he would throw the ball. Now there, he was batting it down the whole way instead of going for the interception. I mean, he would have had a nice pick right there. Good read on that slant route.
Great read defensively. 0 for 4 on 3rd down. Tuscola 2 for 2 on 4th down. They're at 3rd down here. Sluter pump fakes. Looking for Dalton Hole and overthrows him out of bounds.
Yeah, they got too many receivers in the same spot there, and that didn't do anything to the defenders. And the receivers didn't help out by squeezing the sideline too much. They got to give the quarterback room to throw the football. And they ran both their routes within 5 yards of each other, which always brings in another defender and makes it more difficult to make that completion. Well, he's going to be punting into a relatively stiff wind here, so it should result in pretty good field position for Lena.
The 7th punt of the game. 5 minutes to play. Lena-Winslow a 1-point lead. That was going to bounce out of bounds at the 38-yard line. A little better field position. And they mark it now at the 37. Still better field position for Lena-Winslow as they cling to that 1-point lead. A missed extra point. The only difference in this ball game. A bad snap for Tuscola.
And cling is a good term you're using there, Lee, because really in the second half it's really been all the Warriors of Tuscola, and Lena-Winslow's run game has been shut down for the most part, including Valentine. So they really need to start going here, and part of that becomes the defensive line as opposed to the offensive line. Right now the trenches are being controlled by the Warriors of Tuscola.
Give is to Ormiston. Kevin Miller with the tackle. He had 9 tackles, 2 for loss in the win over Carrollton in the quarterfinals.
And he's a 3-year starter, number 73 right there. Very quick. Another, not real big. He's only 5'8", 175, but he's very quick. And of course he has that experience of being a 3-year varsity starter, which helps.
Second down, call it 6 for Lena-Winslow. Chrisman keeps it, not much there.
This is not the situation that Coach Aaron wanted the Panthers to be in at this point. I think there was some miscommunication there because you saw Chrisman and Valentine talk just before the snap. And that was kind of an unusual place to run a quarterback sneak when you needed about 7 yards. So I think there was just a mix-up in that play calling scenario.
Big 3rd down play with a 1-point lead for Lena-Winslow. 3rd and 4. Give to Valentine, met at the line of scrimmage and stopped by Hunter Woodard.
And again, that play was made because Woodard, they were running away from him. They were running a counter tray, which means the guard and tackle pull. He was on that back side, and he just got in the hips. Look at the top of your screen. You can see how they come down flat right there. They fill the gap that was voided by the guard and tackle pulling. A good job right there of defensive football and running real good mechanics.
Hole standing inside his own 20-yard line with the wind in his face, the sun in his eyes. End over ender. Caught at the 12. Running east and west again. He's still on his feet at the 25.
Good job.
Picks up about 13. He's done very well on his punt returns here in the second half.
He's just one of those backs that once he touches the football, you're kind of on pins and needles, and I'm sure Lena-Winslow feels that way, that once he touches the ball in the open field, he can go all the way. And one of the reasons for that is all you got to do is look at his stats and see that coming as a wide receiver, he's got over 1,000 yards of receiving, and his long one being 85 yards this year. So that tells you he can run with the football after the catch. Good job right there looking at number 55, Ian Keel, their all-state defensive tackle.
Winslow defense has been up to the task here in the fourth quarter. They need another stop here with 2:33 to go, leading by 1. Sluter, nowhere to go with it, and picked off. That's Schwartz tipping it to himself with the interception. A huge turnover there as the Lena-Winslow defense steps up at just the right time, forcing the second Tuscola turnover. And now with a chance to ice this ball game with 2:23 to play.
What a great defensive play. And the thing was that there were people that were open if he had not made that play. So you talk about a clutch play is Schwartz. You can see good pressure right here. He tries to throw the football. It's combination of his athleticism to bat it to himself and then get something out of nothing. Just a really good job. He's been a very active player both defensively and offensively on the opportunities that he has gotten throwing or running with the football offensively. Great play right there.
That interception by Gage Schwartz is our Wintrust play of the game, and the ball's on the ground again. Still on the ground, and Tuscola gets it back. What a wild. And now this happened early in the game, and now it's rearing its head here. That's the 4th turnover for Lena-Winslow. Valentine has it ripped out of there by Erickson.
And that's just an outstanding job by Erickson. And you talk about a situation where everybody's high-fiving themselves thinking the ball game is over, and on the very first play, just good aggressive defense puts the ball on the ground, and now they've got an opportunity to get back in the ball game right here, down by 1 with 2:14 left on the clock.
Cade Creason, the punter, finally chased it down to give Tuscola the ball back. They've got a long way to go and not a long time to get there. Complete to Hull. Chrisman with the tackle out at the 28-yard line. Pick up a 5. Make it 2nd down.
Well, on that slant route to Hull, he gets great inside position on the corner. And the thing is, when he catches that slant, he's going across the field. He's lightning in the bottom.
2 timeouts left for Tuscola. That pass is complete to Hull, and Valentine is there to hammer him after the catch. 3rd down and about a yard, but that clock continues to tick. 1:35 and counting.
There's a good shot right there of Valentine, and the thing is that what's great about it is here's a guy, he's all state, he plays both sides of the football. And I mean, he carries the ball 15 times a game for over 156 yards and usually averages about 8 to 9 tackles a ball game.
Tuscola using a lot of clock to get that play off. And now Sluter's going to have to run for the 1st down himself. He does get out of bounds and stop the clock. He's out at about the 38-yard line, a pickup of 6 and a 1st down, and more importantly, well, just as importantly, stopping the clock with 1:14 to play.
Well, the tough part about this is the outside linebackers and or defensive tackle, whichever scheme they're running, has to contain to not allow him to get outside, because if he gets outside, he's not only gaining yardage, but he gets to the sideline to stop the clock. So it's kind of a double whammy, if you want, or will. And it's tough for a guy to keep contained on a relatively elusive quarterback.
Sluter rolls to his left. Hull right there. Boy, what great timing between Luke Sluter and Dalton Hull. When that pass left Sluter's hand, Hull still hadn't made his turn. You can see it here.
Well, the ball's gone. I mean, they work on that all summer long. They've had 13 games, 13 weeks of practice, regular practice besides what they have in the preseason and summer. So there's a lot of timing involved in that, and they've got it certainly down pat.
1st down at midfield. 1:10 to play. Sluter. That one almost picked off. It was Valentine with a hand on it. Douglas was the intended receiver. 2nd down.
Well, you can see by sprinting out the quarterback, when they get Sluter out on the edge, they want to get him away from the pressure that's being applied by that front 4 of McGee, Jones, Keel, and Bruce. And when you're out on a sprint out, it's a tougher pass to throw for the quarterback rather than sitting in the pocket where you can see more of the field. When you sprint out like that, it limits how much field you have to work with.
All 3 completions on this drive to Dalton Hull. Sluter looking left, batted down again. There's Isaiah Bruce. That's his 2nd bat down of this quarter.
he's had really a good defensive game and offensive game. Watch the athleticism right here. He times it, gets up over the top. He waits till the arm is cocked. I mean, that's not just luck that he's leaping like that. He's timing the quarterback's movements and his mechanics as far as throwing the ball. It's like a guy that blocks a shot in basketball. Same principle.
Noah Trumpy was right there in coverage defensively too for Lena-Winslow. 3rd down and 10. 1:04 to play. Tuscola down 1.
A reverse with a double pass.
It's Hull with it, and he's dropped behind the line of scrimmage. That's Schwartz with the tackle. He's come up with some big plays here defensively in the waning moments of this ball game. So it'll be 4th down with under a minute to play and a timeout Tuscola.
Well, you give credit to the man that made the tackle, but you need to give credit to the defensive back, that Trumpy in the back, that stopped the receiver back there for the double pass. I mean, he stayed with him the whole way. He could have come racing up, but it would have been a touchdown. This is a heck of a ball game. It's just really too bad. We're looking at 26-0, both teams 13-0, that somebody has got to leave here in 2nd place.
Each team with 2 state titles. And Lena-Winslow is 55 seconds away from claiming their 3rd. And the NUIC Northwest, you talk about the number of state championships, it takes a while to go through all that. They have been a dominant conference when it comes to state championships in 1A and 2A football down through the years. Tuscola 3 of 4 on 4th down today. They were 2 of 2 in the 3rd quarter.
What a start to this weekend. What a great football game.
With the number of turnovers, I hate to say it, this could be the play that determines this ball game. Lena calls timeout now.
He didn't like the adjustment right there. The coach down at the bottom of the field is letting something go on there with the secondary, because when they went in motion, they kind of had them overmanned in one side of the field. They unbalanced the field on him and made it a little tougher for him. So that's why he rapidly called that timeout before the ball was snapped.
Can't afford any mistakes here.
There's a good look at their heritage. Very successful. Very successful. And of course, Lena hasn't been too shabby themselves.
Winslow with state championships in 2010 and 2013. Rick Aaron looking to pick up his 3rd state championship here today. You look at that conference, Dakota with 3 championships, Galena with 3 championships, Thorsten with 2 championships in the last 3 seasons prior to this. 4th down, and the season, the championship on the line here for Tuscola. Sluter to throw. It's complete to Dalton Hull. He's very close to a 1st down.
Good mark. They might have to measure this. It looks like they got it.
Hull's 8th catch of the day comes on 4th down. They are 4 of 5 now on 4th down, I believe. What a huge play.
What a great job of rolling out to his left for a right-handed quarterback. Puts the ball right on the money. And you can see Dalton Hull right there going up and making the catch, picking up the 1st down by about a yard, but it still is a big 1st down.
Clock running. Sluter looking for Hull again. That time incomplete. 37 seconds left. Man, how clutch can you be on 4th down in the state championship game? Couldn't come at a better time for Tuscola.
And your 2 best players, really, offensive players anyway, with Dalton Hull and Luke Slaughter being able to do that. But on that one there, Sluter just short-armed the ball into the sideline. He was going for Dalton Hull on a 12-yard out. But we've got another timeout here.
Luke Sluter having an outstanding game, 6'2", 195-pound junior after a bit of a slow start. His percentage isn't that great, 12 for 30, but 116 yards and 2 big touchdowns in that 3rd quarter. And really, you have to admire what they were able to do in that third quarter, because the momentum was definitely going against them, and to be able to come back and make a game of it in that third quarter.
Well, it's a lot of credit to the coaches that make the adjustment at halftime, but then also the players to be able to do what the coaches adjusted them to. You know, you've got to have some production in the second half. You can make all the adjustments you want on the erase board, but if the kids aren't able to produce, it doesn't happen. So that's a credit to both the coaches and the players here.
A couple of heartbreaking postseason losses the last 2 years for Tuscola. They felt like they coulda, shoulda made the state championship game. They are here with a chance to win it. Sluter looking downfield. Dalton Hall on the jump ball. He was open and had to come back for it, thrown into that wind.
That's the same scenario that happened earlier about 2 series ago for them. He was open initially, but the ball's up in the air a little too long and allows the safety to come over and help. He'll come into your screen right there, and it's a combination of the safety having time and the ball being thrown up in the air and the wind factor. They're better off going on their shorter routes right here where the wind is not a factor. But of course, we're looking at 32 seconds left in the ball game.
Sluter 4 of 8 passing, and Rick Aaron calls timeout again. He's barking at the defensive backs yet again,
because they're not making an adjustment to that quick motion. And one of the things that they're doing is when he makes that quick motion, sometimes that frees up the tight end right down the middle of the field because the safety is sliding over too far. And you'll see that in many cases when you have 2 really great outside receivers. The defenders, being the both corners and the safety, start sliding in their direction, and the tight end goes down the middle of the field, and a linebacker is stuck on him. And if it's play action, the linebacker comes up 1 step to look for the play action on the run, and he's beat down the middle of the field. That's a lot to say. That's a mouthful of it, but that's exactly what happens.
That's why you get the big bucks.
Yeah, right.
32 seconds left. Lena-Winslow leads at 21-20. That was their final timeout. Tuscola still has 1 timeout left. It's 3rd down and 10 for Tuscola. Erickson in motion. Sluter looking to throw. Nobody open. He's got room to run. He stays in bounds. Very close to a 1st down, but the clock stopped. I think either they're going to measure or call it a 1st down. Let's see what they do here.
But see, that was a perfect example of where he wasn't sure right there. He should have gone out of bounds after he had that scramble. And they got to have outside contained.
Clock's rolling again. 15 seconds. 4th down. And it's broken up, incomplete. Valentine there in the coverage with 10 seconds left. And Lena-Winslow gets the ball and 10 seconds away from the state title.
Well, they certainly took it right down to the very last play to make it a very exciting ball game, but they deserve it defensively for what they've been able to do in the 4th quarter. You got to give both teams a lot of credit for the ball game that they have done. Here's just a good job right here of pass coverage. And actually, Valentine has been outstanding on defense all day long to go along with his outstanding effort running the football.
Douglas was the intended receiver.
I guess that's why he's an all-stater.
Lena-Winslow led 21-7 at the half. There seems to be some confusion on the Tuscola side, and I believe they've called timeout. Their final timeout here. Well,
Valentine is also a cheerleader. But here's a great run right here. You talk about poor tackling or breaking a tackle, and then just really good cutback and then speed. The whole combination, power and speed, quick feet. He's got it all.
Ravion Valentine, our Country Financial Player of the Game.
And breaks the tape at the end of the run. I think he's excited.
Yeah. And had had that scare, and early in the fourth, late in the third quarter with what appeared to be an ankle, but he's able to come back out there and be in on that big stop for Lena-Winslow. 10 seconds left in this ball game. A 21-7 lead at halftime. Tuscola rallied back. A bad snap on an extra point is what stands between them and a tie ball game, and 10 seconds between Lena-Winslow and a state championship would be the third for Lena-Winslow under Rick Aaron.
Well, this certainly was all that's been talked about when you have two great teams like this going up against each other. As we mentioned, you would expect nothing less. I mean, both teams have kind of swung back and forth offensively and defensively.
6 turnovers combined, 4 for Lena-Winslow.
Good teams force turnovers, and then good teams take advantage of turnovers.
And really good teams overcome them. 4 turnovers, not enough to keep Lena-Winslow from their third state championship. (21-20) the final, the third state championship for Lena-Winslow, the second straight for the Northwest Upper Illinois Conference Northwest Division. Forest in the state champs a year ago. Lena-Winslow beat them in the semifinals to get to this state championship game and hang on for a 21-20 win. They didn't score in the second half, but they hang on to win it here.
Well, that last game with Forston in the semifinals, you know, they really kind of flew through the season with not much of challenges, but then that last ball game might have made a difference for them coming into this game with a little competition before you go into a big ball game.
Let's go downstairs to Cameron.
All right, Coach. Third state championship in your career as head coach for Lena-Winslow. How does it feel for you, especially to see your kids battle through today and get this win?
It wasn't pretty. I mean, the second half was crazy. We couldn't have played. I thought we played our worst quarter in the first quarter, and we played worse in the third. And then to be able to come out and D up like we did in the fourth quarter was just amazing. And you know, these kids have been battling all year long. We've been winning the war, and you know, I don't know what else to say. Just happy as heck, and you know, it's these guys here. They're a great group of kids.
Now, you told me earlier in the week that you guys have implemented a strength and conditioning program that has paid dividends for you guys all season. How huge was that, especially in the second half when you had some guys nicked up, but continue to play on and push forward to get some big defensive stops?
I think it's been huge for us. I mean, we've done it all, you know, for the last 20 years, but we're doing it unlike we've ever done it, and hopefully it continues to pay off.
All right, Coach, we'll let you enjoy this one with your team. Congratulations on the state championship.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, Cameron, thank you. Lena-Winslow finishes the year 14-0 and hangs on for a 21-20 win here in the state championship game. That says a lot about a team. It says a lot about a program. Coach Aaron saying that they lost. They played their worst quarter in the first quarter, and maybe their worst quarter then again in the third. We'll hear from the state champs coming up.
Well, congratulations to the Lena-Winslow Panthers. You are state champions for Class 1A in 2017. And I'm standing here with a player that had an integral part in making this championship possible for Lena-Winslow, and that's senior running back Valentine. 19 carries, 140 yards, 2 touchdowns. You guys came out in that first half blazing. What worked for you in that first half? And then you guys obviously had some struggles second half, but picked it up in the end.
Coming into the state championship, the whole entire season we started off hot and just fast, and that's what we've been preaching in practice, just speed, speed, speed. So starting out hot, getting those first 2 scores with Brucey, with my touchdown, and with that nice pass from Ty, it was just a great start. But coming out of halftime, we were flat, so we just had to rely on our defense, honestly, and to make it even that close. My fumble, that was just ridiculous, but it's bend, don't break. And our defense, again, pulled off a crazy championship. Like, I can't explain in words, but I mean, like, this group of guys, I love them so much. Like, I haven't been around so many good people.
What does it say about your resiliency personally? Because you had that fumble and came up hobbling at about the 3:42-minute mark of the third quarter, but came back into the game and made some big defensive stops along with a lot of other players on your team.
If it wasn't for the fans, if it wasn't for the coach, and it wasn't for the players helping me back up, I wouldn't be able to have that. And I gotta give thanks to them because they helped bring me back up. And you gotta fight for the next play, and that's what won the game. So without my team, without my players, we wouldn't have been in that position.
All right, when I say Lena-Winslow, the Panthers are state champions, what does that mean to you?
We have 14-0. Coach A got 179 wins today, so that's a great task for first time being 14-0. So it's crazy.
Ravion Valentine, outstanding day this morning running the football for the Panthers of Lena-Winslow. Let's throw it back upstairs to the booth to Lee and Jack.
All right, Cameron, thank you very much. Tuscola outgained Lena-Winslow in the second half, 124-52, but the Panthers hang on and win the state championship 21-20.
Couldn't ask for anything more in the first ball game. When you're looking at if the next 7 ball games can compare to this will be one of the greatest weekends of all time of IHSA state championships. This was a heck of a football game by 2 great high school football teams. Both teams extremely well coached. An awful lot of really good athletes. And anytime you've got kids that are playing both ways, you talk about stamina and competitive spirit, and they certainly, both teams had that.
4 Lena-Winslow turnovers, including one that Ravion Valentine says was just ridiculous when it looked like they were going to be able to wrap up the game. That gave Tuscola one more shot at it. But the Panthers hang on to win it 21-20. And now we're going to go to Jeff Fritzen, our PA announcer for the trophy presentations. The trophy presentations are brought to us today by Menards.
Awards platform. A special medallion will be presented to the administrators, and individual awards will be presented to Coach Romine and his team captains.
So a heartbreaking loss for Tuscola as they drop it here 21-20, but they add to that great Tuscola tradition, titles in 06 and 09 and state championship game appearances in 2007, 2010, 2011, and again here today. And Coach Romine talked this week about the heartbreaking losses in the quarterfinals and how his team felt like they were going to the state championship game the last couple of years and didn't get there, and to get there and come up a point short, it's pretty tough. But what a great season for the Tuscola Warriors.
No doubt about it, but there is nothing more difficult than being up on that stage and picking up that second place trophy. But I'll tell you this, if you don't win that semifinal game and you don't have a great season, you're never up on that podium anyway.
Right.
So to me, and having been here and been involved with the state championship in 2001, I can tell you that that semifinal game is crucial, because it's one of those deals where we were so close. You get to the state championship game and it's your best effort. You play against a better team or you have a bad game, whatever. There's a lot of things you can talk about, but that semifinal game, When you lose that one, that's the toughest thing. But when you have in the state championship game, and especially two teams that are 13-0 coming into it, and one of those teams has to end up with a loss in the last game, that's tough. But it shows a lot of character by these teammates, and also the other big factor to me is the sportsmanship is unbelievable.
3 straight unbeaten regular seasons, 3 straight conference titles for Tuscola. They finished 13-1. Number 1 ranking in the state, and they finish at number 1. Your Lena-Winslow Panthers 14-0 after a 21-20 win here today.
A lot to be proud of right there. It's been a long, long season. And actually the season for most of these teams starts right after Thanksgiving, about a week after you start going to the weight room, and it does not continue until, for example, in their case, they raise that trophy up over their head.
They add to their school history. Champs in 2010 and 2013, and now again in 2017, and adding to that great NUIC Northwest Division state championship tradition. I know I mentioned it earlier. Dakota 3 state championships, Galena 3 state championships. Lena-Winslow now joins them with 3, Forreston with 2, Amboy with 1, Pearl City, South Beloit, also members of that conference division with state championships. 21-20 the final. Ravi on Valentine, a couple of touchdown runs, and just enough defense for the Panthers as they win it here 21-20 to finish the season 14-0 and take home a state championship trophy. We've got more great state championship football coming your way here on NBC Sports Chicago.